Gambling website.
The Jason Gregor Show.
The 13. He's
On Sports 1440.
Good block by Dobbins. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Disley. Second touchdown pass today for Justin Herbert.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated gambling website.
Grubauer is going somewhere to the bench. Montour shot, hit by Bouchard. Net is empty. Arvidsson to Draisaitl, blowing a wheel. Bjorkstrand and Draisaitl will finish it. Empty netter. Edmonton 4, Seattle 2. Draisaitl with his league-leading 20.
Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. So we are coming to live today. I'm back in the old Velvet Dungeon. Haven't been here for a while, but is a little bit under the weather, so opted not to risk getting cons. Of course, with a young child at home, you don't want to take any chances. So we'll be in studio later on this week. So the wonders of technology, though, allow us to be live on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X from the Velvet Dungeon today. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province. Play Alberta is, of course, Alberta's only one-stop shop for lottery, sports, and casino. Why spread yourself thin across multiple sites? We can get it all under one roof. PlayAlberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers are in Boston as they get set to take on the Boston Bruins tomorrow, and then they will reach the official midway point of the season when they are in Pittsburgh on Thursday. Then they'll be in Chicago. They come home for one game against LA a week today. Then they're back on the road, Minnesota, Colorado, and Vancouver. So to me, I look at this as like a middle of an 8-game road trip for the Edmonton Oilers because you're flying everywhere. You come home for one game in Edmonton and boom. Yeah, you have your crowd, so that helps you. But travel-wise, it's like a road trip. So the Oilers pick up 2 wins, neither one of them in dominant fashion by any stretch of the imagination, as they had a 2-0 lead, saw it evaporate, won it late with Leon Draisaitl going top shelf, and then they get up on Seattle. I thought they dominated early in that game, and then Seattle made it close, but Draisaitl again puts this one away into an empty net, and Leon Draisaitl now has a 6-goal bulge in the Maurice Richard race, 29 goals through 39 games so far this season. The most goals he had was 31 in 40 games in 2022. That was the year he finished with 55 goals. And Connor McDavid had one time he had 30 goals in 26 games. The season he scored 64. So Oiler fans, you've seen goal scoring like this before. Leon Draisaitl's having himself an unreal year. He's in the conversation, obviously, for the Richard. It's not really a convo. It's just based on actual results. Then you've got, some conversations and talking points for the Hart Trophy, where Leon Draisaitl should be in it. And even for the Selke, look at his numbers. And the Selke voters showed you last year that they don't just rule out high offensive players. Sam Reinhart, who had, was right in the, him and Austin Matthews were first and second in the league in goals last year, and they finished third and fourth in Selke voting. So there's no reason why Leon Draisaitl, when you look at all of his numbers, why he shouldn't be in consideration for all 3 awards this season. There's also, of course, lots of NFL talk we'll get to today as the wild card weekend is upon us. Should be loads of fun to see that. The Edmonton Elks, their coaching staff, from sources tell me that it's been finalized. Jordan Maksimic and JC Sherritt. Now, we knew that before. They're the OC and the DC. Steven Sorrells have been talking about it for a while. He was the one carryover from the previous staff. Then you got Demetrius Maxey, Jason Tucker, Aaron Grimes, guys I've mentioned before. And then Des Cotillier will come in, as well as Tristan Dice will be joining the squad. Both Cotillier and Dice coming in from BC and Calgary. Killam, of course, working with Des in Calgary, and Dice worked with Maksimic in BC. So that will be the coaching staff of the Elks. I expect a complete announcement from them sometime this week. So there you have it. For those who've been asking about it, I can tell you that for sure is the coaching staff for the Green and Gold. NHL, crazy time right now in the NHL. It's kind of fun if you like uncertainty. You got the bottom feeders beating the top dogs. All of a sudden, you have Detroit and Montreal, and they're in the race. The Eastern Conference. How about this? If you look at the wild card race right now today, Tampa Bay has 42 points. Ottawa has 40. Pittsburgh has 41, but Ottawa does have the second best points percentage. But by points, Pittsburgh is ahead of them. Then Columbus has 40, Montreal 39, Philly 39, Detroit 38, the Rangers and the Islanders 37. And now Pittsburgh's played the most games at 41. Tampa's played the fewest at 37. Then you have Ottawa at 38, 39 games for Montreal, Detroit, the Rangers, 40 for the Flyers, and the Islanders and the Blue Jackets. And now we can say it's more of a jog than an actual race at this point, but there's a lot of teams. That's 9 teams separated by 5 points. And now Tampa Bay, I guess I kind of include them. I don't know if I should, just because they played so many fewer games, but they've lost 4 in a row. Montreal and Detroit have gained 8 points on them since December 29th. 8! That's a massive amount. So it's a pretty big swing. They still have the fewest games played in the NHL at 37. So, they have that going for them, but all of a sudden it's a race. Now in the West, the Vancouver Canucks have, they're 3-4-3 in their last 10. Quinn Hughes hasn't played for 4 games. They've got an organization that refuses to come out publicly and say anything in regards to the Miller and Pettersson, alleged disconnect. Like, they've been teammates for 5 years. They've never been super close. Why is this continually getting air? Just when you think it's down, people throw more gasoline on the fire. So, but what that's done is the Flames are 1 point back. The Blues are 2 back, although Vancouver has 3 games in hand on St. Louis. And then Utah is 3 games back. Heck, even the Anaheim Ducks, who beat the Oilers, the Devils, and the Jets here post-Christmas, are 6 back. Now, that's probably a stretch, let's be real here, but it's just allowed some teams to give themselves some hope that maybe they can stay in the race, more so Calgary, St. Louis, and Utah. Colorado is the first wild card team. They're tied with Dallas. They're in a pretty comfortable spot, I would think. Vancouver still controls their own destiny, don't get me wrong, but the injury to Hughes, now Demko again, Roenick's out, like Dakota Joshua, they announced he's on IR again. So the Canucks they're in a little bit of a tailspin, and I'm sure Oilers fans are loving it. Why wouldn't you? Watching one of your rivals struggle a little bit. Meanwhile, wild card weekend is upon us Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And Conman, you have your charge. Like, this is the best possible first round matchup for your team. You should beat Houston.
Yeah, and I mean, not to even slight Houston, it's just not good to go to Baltimore or Buffalo, where weather will be a factor, and two of the top 3 teams in the AFC are a factor. It's a winnable game. The conditions should be okay. And based on what I saw last year, Gregor, this is a win. I'm happy with this season. Harbaugh turned it around. This is the worst team he's probably going to have. They've got $80 million of cap space this offseason. Really just need to re-sign Rashawn Slater. This should be a fun game. And, the way CJ Stroud's played this season, like you say, a game that is very winnable for them.
It should be, right? Especially with you look at the injuries to Houston and just how they've played all year long. They haven't looked like the team that they were last year. So, the Chargers, when was the last time the Chargers won a playoff game, Cons?
2017. It was Lamar Jackson's rookie year. They beat the Ravens in Baltimore.
Okay, so It's been a while. So what you're telling me.
Yeah. We'll skip that game against Jacksonville from a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, that was it.
Should have won. They won the first half.
Yeah.
Handily.
It's not how it works though, Connor.
Yeah.
That was pretty epic collapse for sure. But
It's bad, yeah.
you like, honestly, I look at those matchups. I think the Ravens are going to blow out the Steelers. The Steelers are limping into the playoffs. They don't look very good. I like Denver, but I don't like them to beat Buffalo. But they might not get absolutely torched in that game. At least I don't think so. The NFC has the matchups. The Rams are at home. I like the Vikings, but the Rams still the Rams, and I don't know if they'll get blown out at home. Green Bay and Philadelphia, I think that's the game of the weekend for sure for me. And the second one might be the Bucks and the Commanders, just because of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, what a turnaround for the Commanders this season with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury kind of finding the groove there with Jaden Daniels. They found a way to get Scary Terry involved. Going into Tampa, not the toughest place to go into and play, right? Like an opportunity for them to get into that one. I think the Broncos, I mean, they're a feisty team. You can't name too many of their defensive players, like Patrick Surtain, top 1-2 corner in the league, obviously. They've got a few guys who can get after the quarterback. But as a unit, they play very feisty. So I think they'll make it tough. Still got the Bills walking away with this one. But the 9-point favorites, Gregor, that just seems like a bit of a stretch in this one. On the flip side, Ravens to beat the Steelers, that's a 10-point underdog for the Steelers. That one I could see happening. I could see Lamar Jackson having some success. He and Derrick Henry, I mean, what a backfield that is.
Well, and then if the Bills and the Ravens take care of business, then we see them head-to-head in the second round. That'll be a hell of a game, right? Meanwhile, the Chiefs just sit back and watch, and it might be the Chargers and the Chiefs. Like, if I'm picking, that's what I'm picking. I'm picking the Chargers to win. I'm picking the Bills to win. I'm picking the Ravens to win. So it'll be Chiefs and the Chargers, and then the Ravens and the Bills. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I would go for sure. Take it with a grain of salt. I am a biased Chargers fan. But, just the way they've been playing, they're starting to get a little bit more healthy. They've got J.K. Dobbins back in. And Greg Roman, to his credit, throughout the season, there's been some criticism as the offensive play caller for the Chargers, but he's starting to let Justin Herbert throw the ball a little bit more. Ladd McConkey's really coming on. So I think that could lead to a victory. And then, hey, round 3, Chiefs-Chargers. Chiefs won the first 2 by a combined 9 points. I'd like to see a third matchup there in Arrowhead, but yeah, it's going to be a great weekend for sure.
And it is Black Monday if you're an NFL fan. And what do you make of some of the the coach firings already?
Yeah, probably not too surprising when you look at them. Peterson, they had to do something.
Obvious.
Like they just had to do something. And, he was brought in to kind of stabilize Trevor Lawrence. I still don't know what Trevor Lawrence is. Like it was a mess his first year with Urban Meyer, and there was steps in the right direction, but they had to make that move. The Patriots obviously firing Terod Mayo. Yeah, I didn't love that hiring at the start when it happened. It just kind of seemed like it was kind of quick, and there is a good crop of head coaches coming around this time, that you might want to find that guy who's here for a long time. Kind of surprised Antonio Pierce hasn't been let go by the Raiders. I don't know if he necessarily has them going in the right direction, but very interested to see some of the guys that get these interviews. The New York Jets, Gregor, what? They're not going to hire Rex Ryan, are they? Like, they can't do that.
Oh man, it would be awesome if they did.
I talked to him on his show. He said he's hoping for Abel, but not Rex Ryan.
Oh God, no! I can see why they wouldn't want him, right? Unless you like foot fetishes. But so you look at Chicago, Jacksonville, New Orleans, the Patriots, and the Jags. Which of those 5 teams, if you're a head coach and you get interviewed by all and you can pick, right? Who would you pick?
Sorry, you had the
Jets, the Patriots, the Saints, the Bears, and the Jaguars, the 5 teams who don't have a head coach right.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You say the Bears, but then you're going into a division with the Packers, Lions, and Vikings, where you're probably not going to get too many wins in the next 5 years. All those teams pretty locked in there. Patriots, I don't think I want to go to the Patriots. That's not a very good team. It might be the Jags. It might be that going into like yeah, and I don't even really like the Jags. I don't like much about them, but you have your quarterback, you have ETN, you have Brian Thomas Jr. I might reluctantly have to take that job.
Well, I look at the quarterback in New England. I think a lot of people are very high on him in May.
Yeah, it's not bad, yeah.
The Bears, young quarterback. You mentioned you don't know what you have in Jacksonville. So then you look at the Jets. I don't even know who their quarterback is, but if it's Aaron Rodgers, I ain't going to go. Like, I don't care what he did yesterday, right? Like, he had 4 touchdowns in a nothing game. Like, yippee. And then the interesting thing to me is the Saints. Like, they might be as crazy as it sounds, the Saints might be even less attractive than the Jets at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr, no thank you. Alvin Kamara is getting a little bit older. Like Chris Olave, I think he's already said he wants to trade out, so you could potentially be losing him. Yeah, like this is not last year where there was some new team that you want to go to and you got the potential there. Every team, every opening has its warts, and you're going to need some sort of job security. You can't be Gerard Mayo one and done. Like you're going to need some time to get good players in, develop, build that culture. But I think they're all pretty tough. If it's just talents alone, I'm taking the Bears. But like I said, playing in that division is tough.
What about the story that came out from ESPN that the Bears have sought permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy? What? Like, have you ever heard of a team requesting to interview another team's head coach?
No, not that I remember. I mean, we've seen trades, right? Like Gruden was traded to the Bucks from the Raiders for a first. Sorry, Raiders to the Bucks. Interviewing a head coach, especially McCarthy, who's been, got the Super Bowl. Credit to him, he won a Super Bowl with the Packers.
Oh God!
But since then, since then it's been underachieving. Hasn't been able to get anything done with the Cowboys, who the last couple of years, not this year, pretty good team on paper. That would just be a lateral move at best.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when Mike Babcock, people talked about how he won. Yeah, he won a Stanley Cup how many years ago? Like, what has he done lately? What has McCarthy done lately as a head coach? Like, give me a break. Like, there's got to be a certain timeline on when you can say, like, I get that you always win a Stanley Cup, but it shouldn't. What you've done 15 years ago should not be that relevant in the interview process, at least for me. So
no, I mean, it seems like it is too. Like, okay, so much has changed back then. Players are different. The style of the game's different a little bit. Yeah, if you're going for a guy like McCarthy, he won a long time ago. I think he can get your program in the right direction, but I don't think you're winning any championships.
Coming up on the show today, Kevin Woodley will be by. We'll talk all things goaltending. We'll look at Jeremy Swayman. Like, his record's not great, but his stats have actually been pretty good. But lately, all of a sudden, they're giving up 4 goals a game. So what's up in Boston? We'll go to Pittsburgh as well. Tristan Jarry, remember, he went down for bits, come back up and looked all right. The Oilers also, I don't even know, do we have to talk about Chicago's goaltending? The way they give up stuff, I'm not sure it matters. Speck will be by. He'll join us. He's on the road in Beantown. We got the 2-minute warning with Tate. Ruben Mays, former NFLer who holds the record for most rushing yards by a Canadian still at over 1,300. Had he not got injured, Chuba Hubbard might have had a chance to break it. But we'll talk to Ruben about his career, what he's doing now. Tom Galudi will join us, talk some NHL coming up right away. We also have Ken Belson. We'll talk a little NFL playoffs with him in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll take your text at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Quick one. Hey guys, I don't think Draisaitl can win the Hart with McDavid as teammate. Well, he's already won the Hart with McDavid as teammate. And McDavid's won the Hart 3 times with Draisaitl's teammate. McKinnon just won it with Mikko Rantanen, not only as his teammate, but as his line mate. So I think all the proof is there that, yes, indeed, they could do it for sure. Well, the other in the NFC, we'll get to those games because I think there's 2 of them. Like the Packers and the Eagles looks really good. The Rams and the Vikings should be close. And Jaden Daniels on the road against Tampa Bay. Like, I think we could see some blowouts in the AFC, but I think the NFC games could be really tight. So we'll get to all of that. Also, we'll talk about the Edmonton Oilers. And I know hey guys, the Oilers didn't dominate this weekend. Should we be concerned? No. And here's why. Montreal just beat Vegas, Colorado, Florida, and Tampa. You look at Detroit, just beat Carolina and Boston, playoff teams. Anaheim beat New Jersey. They beat Winnipeg. They also beat the Oilers once. Lately, the non-playoff teams here, San Jose had 2 wins over playoff teams. No, I don't. At this point, you don't have to win 6-2 every game. It would be nice, but I wouldn't. I would never kick a victory away. The Oilers played really well against Seattle. Seattle made it a little bit close in the third. I don't love the Oilers' third periods lately, if I'm being honest. I think that's fair. We can do it. And Ruben Mays, he'll be on at 3 o'clock today. For those wondering, Jay wants to know, he'll be in at 3. Take a quick break. We'll talk some NHL next with Tom Galudi on the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, and X, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Kids get in free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Vimy and Donnan Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, attend the Vimy Open House on January 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. Beginner or experienced, this program nurtures and develops a student athlete's skills in a supportive environment. The Vimy Open House is a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 7 through 12 to see what Vimy Hockey and all of the other sport academies at Vimy have to offer. Visit vimyridge.epsv.ca for more info.
Didn't get a holiday bonus? At Wolf GMC Buick, we have the bonus you need. Get 0% financing on our most popular trucks like the Sierra Half-Ton Crew Cab during GMC's Canada-wide clearance. Or select up to $8,500 on a number of Sierras. If you're looking for heavy duty, we have that too. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra HDs, Yukons, and the all-new GMC Hummer EV. And seeing it's the holidays, a $500 bonus on select 2024 and 2025 models. But when the holidays are done, so are these deals. Get to Wolf GMC Buick today.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup?
That would be awesome, but completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhauk beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhauk beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the weather turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply has been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements, with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
People you know will go hungry tonight. Your local food bank is like a beacon, reaching out to those in need, offering warmth, food, and hope. Visit foodbankscanada.ca and help them serve hope on a plate, because no one should weather life's hurricanes alone.
Delicious news. The McDonald's meals you love are now $9.99 every day. Grab your faves like the Big Mac, 6-piece McNuggets, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish with medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99 each plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Edmonton, Alberta, and the surrounding area. Prices exclude delivery.
Hey, mom said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through a lovely Monday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Declan Kruger running things. on the digital side here at Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as Oilers YouTube, Facebook, and X. Thanks, as always, for joining us as it's time to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And stop in right now. Your favorite meals, only $9.99. The Big Mac, the McChicken, filet of fish, or the 6-piece McNuggets with fries and a drink for only $9.99 at McDonald's. As we join from the show from NHL.com, beat reporter for the Washington Capitals, as the Great 8 chase continues on, as Alex Ovechkin, after missing 16 games, returned after Christmas, and all he does is still score. He has 4 goals in 5 games, which gives him now 19 goals on the season so far, and he hasn't even played 25 games. It's been quite the season, not only for Ovechkin, but also for the Washington Capitals, as they lead the Metro Division, have the second best record in the National Hockey League right now, one of only 2 teams at over 700 points percentage. Tom, it's been a remarkable season, and it's one that I have to think, with this chase for Ovechkin, like it fires guys up all the time to be able to be watching history made on a record that for many years people thought might never be broken.
It definitely does. I think the players feel it, and he's still 23 away from breaking it, but they could be, every time he scores, or every time, especially when they're home and he gets the puck, your fans are anticipating he might score a goal and get closer. I think it definitely, when he does, him going out this record I think has added something for the team and adds an excitement. On top of that, they're playing well too. But I think there's definitely the guys are just all, enjoying watching what he's doing and just his energy and everything. And normally also gives them a lift. So it's been definitely a fun watch, and should be a fun watch as we get into the second half of the season here and see where he goes here, if he's going to break it this season, which it looks like it could be the way he's been going.
Well, yeah, 19 goals in 23 games so far. He's got 872. He needs 23 goals the rest of the way. So basically he would need, 23 goals in 43 games. And the pace he's on right now, that seems like a no-brainer. He would do it. How big of it, do they got, I know they have inside the arena every time he scores that, they change it, but are there things around the city that, Washington fans, businesses are really getting into this chase for Ovechkin?
Not yet. I haven't seen anything around the city where fans are getting into it, but I think as we get closer, in that way, out, around this businesses and stuff like that, I think as we get closer, we'll see it. That it's really gonna. I think it's going to capture the city, capture this. The Capitals. Winning the championship was a big part of things, and I think this is going to have a similar. I think people are going to want to be there, want to watch. So every goal he gets closer, it's going to become a bigger story for sure.
Looking at their overall team, because Ovechkin obviously has been playing remarkable. He's got 30 points in 23 games, one of his best seasons that way. But Dylan Strome's a point-a-game player, 44 points in 39 games, and then Alexei Protas, who I saw in Prince Albert a lot when he was a young 17-year-old. The year they won the Western Hockey League, because my nephew was playing there, and he was a man-child then. He was just big and hadn't really filled out, but. You see, I watch him now at 6'6", and he's listed at 220. I won't be surprised if he's more than that. But he is an absolute load, Tom.
Oh my God, he's really developed into a heck of a player. Like you mentioned, you probably saw him. When he came to his first training camp, he hadn't grown into his body yet. His legs were not catching up with the rest of his body, and his skating looked really awkward, but he also got where he needed to go at a pretty good speed. And now that he's grown into everything, he's a really fast skater, big kid. I don't know if he's the overly physical for his size, but he's just big and strong, and does all the things they need him to do, winning battles and things like that. And earlier at the start of the season, he was playing with Ovechkin on that line with Dylan Strome, and then lately he's been playing with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tom Wilson on what is just a monster line. There's 3 guys 6'4", 6'5", and all 3 of them can skate pretty well. So he's really turned into a player. He's added the finishing touch this year, which he didn't really have last year, up to 17 goals. And he's last year he kind of went through a lull in the middle of the season, and he hasn't had that this year. He's actually seems to have gotten better as the season's gone on. So he's definitely been fun to watch as he's emerged as a key player for them.
Oh, him and McMichael, Washington has been able to retool on the fly, Tom. And it's just, it's pretty impressive. Now, in a weird way, they got lucky because some older guys in Oshie and Backstrom, who are probably, on the backside of their career, they go on LTIR, so that allows them to make some moves. But, they drafted McMichael, they drafted Protas, they brought those guys up. They made a really good trade for Jacob Chychrun, for Jensen. It's worked out for both teams. I look at their GM and their scouting, and even the draft picks they have coming, because they got some really good picks coming outside of the first round. Like Washington has been able, I compare them to Pittsburgh, right? And those guys are rivals head up. Crosby, Ovechkin, that came in the same time. They're bad, and they've been good for a lot of it. Washington seems to have been able to retool on the fly. Well, Pittsburgh is kind of grasping at the final few years of Crosby before they go in the tank.
Yeah, it's been an interesting comparison. Yeah, I think most people thought the Penguins are going to hang on longer as a competitive team, and they still might climb back into this, playoff race. It's kind of that last wild card spot is pretty much up for grabs. Anyone around 500 is in it. But yeah, the Capitals they made some good moves in the last couple of years, and we talked about Dylan Strome. This is a player that was available. Chicago didn't make him a qualifying offer, 2.5 years ago, and the Capitals signed him. And now he's kind of emerged as their first center. He's the guy who was a number 3 pick. Pierre-Luc Dubois, I don't know if anybody wanted to touch that contract this summer because he had a tough year, but the Capitals took a risk there. They needed a player like him. He was a number 3 pick. So now their top 2 centers are, 26, 27 years old, and both number 3 picks, and they didn't have to really give up a lot to get either of them. And that's how you kind of, so you mentioned Nicholas Backstrom. Unfortunately, the stuff with his hip, he wasn't able to play anymore. He's not. And neither of these guys is Nicholas Backstrom. That's a Hall of Fame player in my opinion. But they've replaced what they needed to replace their top 2 centers with him and Kuznetsov no longer with the team. They plugged in and look around the league how many teams are looking for centers, and the Capitals managed to find 2 of them to play in their top 6. So that's some good work that was done by Brian McClellan, who was the GM now, is just team president, and Chris Patrick, who's now GM. The 2 of them, and the whole management team have done a really good job. But like you mentioned, with the scouting and the draft picks, and like McMichael and Protas, and there are guys coming. The 2 of the best players on the U.S. team with the World Junior, Ryan Leonard, Phil Hudson. They're Capitals draft picks. So those are guys that are coming, and that the future suddenly doesn't look like it was like, oh my God, they're gonna have to do a big rebuild now. It doesn't look like they're gonna have to do that.
No, and then they got the younger Protas brother as well.
Yes, little Pro is like 1 inch younger, 1 inch smaller, and he's still growing. So they call him Big Pro and Little Pro.
Oh, geez, yeah, like he, and they'll be patient with him, but their scouting staff gets a lot of credit because, as you mentioned, Hudson comes in, and they also have Sikora, who they took in the 6th round. They've got a lot of good young prospects. So if I look at the Capitals now and you look at their roster, what type of addition? Is there an area where they're looking to upgrade heading into the playoffs and the trade deadline?
I think they'd still probably want to add maybe a scoring wing. I think it should be noted that when we're talking about Ryan Leonard, he's probably going to join them by the end of the year, and they're hoping that once his season is done at Boston College, and I think they hope he would just jump right into their lineup for the playoffs. But I still think they might look for another wing in there to kind of upgrade, or maybe a 3rd-line center. They brought back Lars Eller this year. They surely haven't solving their 3rd line. Their 3rd line has kind of been an issue as far as they really haven't found the right combo there. So that I think is something they're looking to upgrade. Maybe a center, and with Ryan Leonard coming in, that'll be another top 9 forward. And then who knows what at the start, and I think they expect he'll be a top 6 guy pretty quickly as he gets used to playing the NHL.
Yeah, and they don't have to rush him, right? Like if he has to play some time in the minors, it's not the end of the world at all, because they don't. Washington, what they've done uniquely is they've got a mix of older guys while bringing in some of their younger players. And one of their younger guys is their first pick from 2022 in Ivan Miroshnichenko. Tell me about him. He's kind of split time between the A and the NHL.
Yeah, they brought him up, I think, after Ovechkin got hurt, and he's stuck it around for a little bit now. He's been in and out of the lineup, but they see him as he's a really talented kid, and he dropped in the draft in the first round because unfortunately he was diagnosed with cancer that year before the draft, and unfortunately he's healthy now, and he really could shoot the puck. I don't want to say that like he is the heir to Alex Ovechkin, but he's the kind of he could be a top 2 line left wing for when Alex is moving on eventually. So he's got the right hand shot, kind of some similarity there, but he's definitely can shoot the puck. They're working on little things in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes down again at some point, just so he can play more often. It doesn't do him a lot of good to keep sitting, but I think he's been learning in the time he's been up, and they hope that's going to help him as he goes forward. But definitely a talented kid, as you mentioned, and again another later in the first round pick, like McMichael and like Protas was a second round, guys like that they've been able to kind of pluck without being top 5 picks, things like that.
Tom Galiti joins us from NHL.com, beat reporter for the Washington Capitals, as the OV watch continues on. And it's, Tom, you've been covering the league for a long time, and you've seen a lot of the great players. You look at Ovechkin at his age, and we see this in other sports now. The great players are able to stay great for longer, but like it really seems like last year at times he looked a little bit slower. He's come back this year, and right from the get-go, he's been flying. Obviously, I think the chase has been part of it, but in your conversations with Al, what do you see that's maybe different this year from last year for him?
I do think he, last year he had a really, tough first half of the season, and then he caught fire right around the All-Star break. He had just kind of struggled at the beginning of the year, and then I think also, even though he played really well down the stretch, he might have ran out of gas because they really relied on him. He didn't have a great playoff series against the Rangers, didn't have a point when they got swept. I mean, there was no shame in them losing that series. No one expected them to win it. But I think that kind of got him, and he went, got to him. And I think he really trained, this summer. I think he came back and he was in phenomenal shape, for a 39-year-old. And you saw in his play, like he's not going to be the Alex Ovechkin of when he was 25 as far as his skating and stuff like that. But he's able to, do a pretty good job keeping up with the speed of the game. And I think it has helped that he's played, they usually find at least one fast guy on his line to help with that, open things up a little bit. And the Capitals are playing faster, and I think that helps him as well. Having a better team around him helps him, I think. And he knows what he's doing, right? He's been doing it long enough. It was just so weird to see him. I think it was something like 8 goals right at or some 8 or 9 goals right up to the All-Star break last year, and then he was more like himself afterwards and ended up finishing with 31. And he's kind of just continued from there as far as the pace. I think he has something like 42 goals in his last 60 games dating back to last February. So it's pretty incredible what he's been doing at his age.
Oh, it's been remarkable, no question. And lastly, Jacob Chychrun, the Chychrun-Jensen trade. It seems to work out for both teams, but what has he added to the Capitals?
Well, just kind of another offensive element. They didn't really have last year. They only scored 20 goals as a team from their defense. It was John Carlson had to play a lot of minutes. They had a lot of injuries there on and off, so John had to play a lot. Rasmus Sandin, who's kind of emerged this year more as a top 4 guy, has gotten to a little more offense. But Jacob, with his shot and his offensive instincts, it just added a lot to their defense. Where it's just another element that other teams have to worry about. They were in a good team as far as scoring goals last season, and teams really didn't have to worry about their defense at all. But now he's there. He's playing they have an interesting alignment in the power play. Not many teams play 2 defensemen on the power play, but now they're doing that since Ovechkin returned. They put Carlson and Chychrun, and Chychrun kind of moves around. He's another shooting threat on the right side, where Ovechkin's on the left side. So that's been working pretty well so far as producing goals. So just a this offensive talent. His the way he skates and his big strong guy. I think it's just they added a top 4 defenseman, and that's going to make a difference. And then they also added signing of Matt Roy, who's a right-hand stay-at-home guy. I think has also helped just because it takes some of the workload off of John Carlson as a right-handed shot. They have 2 guys who they can play in their top 4, and they have a guy also who can play against top lines in Roy.
Tom, as always, man, great rundown. I really appreciate it. Enjoy watching the chase. History in the making every night, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. Hopefully, everyone gets a chance to see him go along here and makes, like you said, history. No one thought maybe 20 years ago this was possible, but here he is.
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy. And he's 900 goals for sure. It's not like he's just going to break the record and leave. Like, you know what? I won't be shocked, Tom, if he finishes this season with 900 or whatever, and then maybe internalizes, says, "Hey, let's try to shoot for 1,000." I wouldn't be stunned by it.
That'd be crazy, but yeah, I wouldn't put anything past him. It'd be interesting to see what he does. What's the final chapter for him?
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
There you go. That's Tom Galiti joins us from NHL.com in Washington. The Capitals are a great story, man. Not only Ovechkin, like that watch. I know in Edmonton, some fans are kind of torn because, hey, Gretzky was your guy, and I totally get it. But this is how I look at it. Wayne Gretzky's excited to see someone break his record. So, you know what? It's a record that a decade ago no one thought was was going to be possible at all. And like always going to break it. He's going to get to 900 goals. He's going to be the first player ever to 900 regular season goals. And I won't be shocked if he tries to stick around and get closer to 1,000. And either way, he's going to beat Gretzky's record by quite a bit. And I know some have said, well, include the WHA year. Okay, fine. You can move it around all you want, but Ovechkin's career is going to be amazing. And you look at it, Washington, Pittsburgh. There are many people that thought, the Pens are going to last a lot longer. Well, that hasn't been the case. Washington's actually extended. They've been more competitive longer here than the Penguins have. And they are shaped up to be much better moving forward in Washington, post Ovechkin and post Crosby. It's not even close. Like the Penguins, they barely got any prospects coming. They got a few, but Washington's got good young guys already, and Protas and McMichael on their team today, not to mention the other guys coming. So they've done a really good job of retooling on the fly. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We got the 2-minute warning and much more when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Are you watching the interest rates these days? Of course you are. Paying less interest leaves money in your pocket. That's why St. Albert Dodge is happy to tell you that right now they have 0% financing on virtually all new 2024 models. Hundreds to choose from: Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer, Dodge Durango, and Hornet, Ram 1500, 2500, 3500, all with 0% financing. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Just when the weather is freezing your nosy, someone's got a new menu that's tasty and cozy. What? It's Booster Juice. Now you can warm up and chow down with a savory selection of grilled fresh favorites. Breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak, and chicken paninis. Topped with melty cheese, creamy pesto, spicy chipotle, grilled fresh options made in-house, warm and delicious. Made daily with the finest ingredients. Cozy comfort food at Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Friday to Monday, save up to $1,100 off furniture. Score a mattress starting at just $149 or a Medea laundry pair for just $9.99. Plus, for 3 days only, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more same brand kitchen appliances. Or pick up a 70-inch TV for just $4.99. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goal. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
He's bringing the spirit and sound of the East Coast to the prairies. River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents Alan Doyle. Live in the venue January 17th. Tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Get ready to rock with ZZ Top. River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents ZZ Top live in the venue June 6, 2025. Tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a lovely Monday. Had a good weekend. The weather is heating up. It's going to be a lot nicer, so that's fantastic to see. Minus 20s. I could reside around the minus 15 area. It's perfect. Minus 10 ODR weather. It's unreal. Unreal. A lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440 in our EWEL inbox, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, what a fraud. Bobby Hall had over 900 goals. This whole thing's a joke from Sean. We had 913, which Ovechkin will break anyway. But if you're going to count Bobby Hall's goals in the WHA, then you should count Ovechkin's 55 goals in the KHL. Right? Like, where do you stop? You can't just pick and choose which ones appeal to you because you're like, wow, I don't want Ovechkin to beat it. But I'll tell you, he's going to surpass Bobby Hall. Right? And you add in Wayne Gretzky's WHA goal season. Sure. Fire away. Right? Then I guess it's Gordie Howe's that people would look at. But again, if you're going to count the WHA, then you have to count the KHL. Right, Gordie Howe had 975 goals between the two leagues. And if you take Ovi and include his KHL goals, he would currently be at, he's at 872.20. He'd be at 927 right now. So he would need 49 goals to pass Gordie Howe, which he's going to do. So you can look at any number, and it's going to favor Ovechkin, whether it's good or bad. So there you go. Hey, boys, I just bought Capitals tickets on January 21st to see Ovi. He's definitely the best goal scorer of all time. He'd score 3,000 if he played in the 80s from JCD. See, that's where I disagree. You don't think Bobby Hall was a good shooter? He could shoot the puck really hard. Mike Bossy? Lots of guys were great shooters. He wasn't going to score that much more. Honestly, I know people throw that out. Oh, McDavid would dominate. Are you sure? Would he have the training to skate like he does now? Would he have the equipment? Right? It's a whole different time. Flying coach. How would he adapt to flying coach? How would he adapt to the hooking and the clutching and grabbing and the increased hitting and the increased fighting? Be totally different. You can't, I think it's misleading to just take a player from today and say, oh, they could go back into a different era, which is totally different. Now, the guys in the other era, if they were able to train like today's players, would they still be good? Yeah, they would. Gretzky's hockey sense isn't going to change from era to era. But I just look at, hey, Ovi's dominated his era. It's unreal. Gretzky dominated his. McDavid's dominating his. It's outstanding. But I don't. it's a different game for sure. Right? But nowadays you can score upstairs on goalies way easier than it used to be because the goalies used to be stand-up, used to score on the ice more. It's just kind of changed. And I know what's funny. It looks worse because the goalies, they're stand-up goalies. They didn't go down. They got beat on the ice. Okay. Well, nowadays the goalies go down. They're getting beat from the goal line because they go down in the reverse VH. So it's just different. For me, I don't get too caught up, but I do want to give you here. Now, here's a stat and I like to give credit for it because you know me, I love finding the stats. Well, I found this stat today from Kendall Baker, who writes at Yahoo. I was reading his article. Cons, and Declan's probably there. I want you to listen to this stat because this is unreal. So Victor Wembanyama, you know what? Now some say 7'5". He's probably 7'5". He is massive. So he just played his 100th NBA game. And in his first 100 NBA games, he had more points than LeBron James, more three-pointers than Steph Curry, more rebounds than Anthony Davis, and more blocks than Shaquille O'Neal did in all of their 100 games. Like, this guy does it all. He is, and he's 7 foot. It's hard, but he moves, and he is deep. Like, he's probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year for sure. Like, his defense is amazing. But he can shoot the three. He can go inside. He can, you've never seen a player like him.
And he's 21.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He's 21.
Cow.
Like, it's so great to see new athletes come on board. You see what Otani's doing. He's pretty amazing. Wembanyama. You see McDavid and the speed he's added to his game. It's exciting to watch what the human body is capable of. But Wembanyama is, I don't know how many of you are big basketball fans, but I'm telling you, there are certain athletes you should want to see live in your lifetime. And he's one of them. His numbers are off the charts, crazy good. Off the charts. So, hey, boys, who would you take in the prime, Shaq or Wembanyama? Well, Shaq was just such a physical force. The problem was he couldn't shoot to save his life. So in today's game, it would be harder for him. Now, some would argue that today's game is too reliant on outside shooting. Valid point. But Wembanyama, he could stand under the basket, sure. But he can shoot free throws way better. Shaq could never shoot a free throw. And I don't know. Like, he had his whole career to improve, and he never did. Right? Like, he was never a great shooter. He was great from within 5 feet, and that's all he had to be. Awesome. And I don't know if Shaq was as ever good defensively as Wembanyama is right now. Right? But he was pretty dominant player. There's no question. And it's hard because, they used to pound the ball inside. You couldn't stop him. Nowadays, they pound it outside or inside, and Wembanyama can beat you in both, which is kind of unique. Like Shaq in his heyday when he was prime, like Shaquille O'Neal, moving up and down the floor, like, you couldn't stop him. He was just so powerful. Like, he could bully everybody on the court. It was crazy. It's a good question. Very different players, though. Very different players. So, hey, guys, I'm curious about the Oilers and their chances to catch Vegas. Does it matter? Oh, I think it matters, Phil. I think it matters a lot. They're 6 points back, right? I said January 19th is the date that I'm looking to say, okay, how realistic is the Oilers' chances to catch them? Because in that time, Edmonton has their toughest stretch of schedule and travel, right? They're playing 9 games in 15 days. All 9 are in a different city in a row because it goes Edmonton. They were here. Then they went to Seattle. Right, then now they're going all the way across. They go to Boston, to Pittsburgh, Chicago, fly home for 1 day. They play a game against LA. Then they're back on the road, Minnesota, Colorado, back-to-back, and then Vancouver. Then that Vancouver game is on Saturday, and when it's over, what is that? Saturday, is that the 19th? I think it's the 19th or 18th, whatever the day is. 18th. Then they'll get 2 days off, and then they have a 6-game homestand. None of the games are back-to-back. They play, every second day. Then they'll have 2 days off on a Monday to a Thursday for Detroit. So I think if they are within striking distance, even if it's only 6 points, because in that time that Edmonton has that tough schedule, Vegas has 10 of 12 games against non-playoff teams. It's kind of one of their easiest stretches. So I want to see where they're at then. I think if they're within 4, 5, or 6 points, then they got a shot. They got one more head-to-head meeting against Vegas. They definitely want to win that one. And then they could roll from there. Now, the wild card will be the acquisitions by either team at the trade deadline. And what will that mean? Is it a big improvement? I think both teams are going to be active and they're going to be looking to make a move. So it's just a matter of who makes what move. Hey guys, looking at the orders and the trade deadline, do you think they try to upgrade the wing position? Do we need a better shooter? As much as I love Pod Colson, he doesn't score very much. It's a fair question. He doesn't score a lot, but guess what? He doesn't get scored on a lot. And I've said this a lot. The Oilers, they don't really lack offense. That's not their biggest issue. Do you know that right now, from last time this year for 39 games to last year, they've scored 8 fewer goals this year than last year. But you know what? They've all come on the power play. Last year they had 32 power play goals through 39 games. This year they have 23. So that's not their depth, guys. That's their power play. It's just not as productive. Now, their power play has actually been really good here as of late for the last 20-some games. I think their power play is, 33, 34%? Now, they're not getting as many power plays. That's the other factor. They've never been a huge, 5 years ago, I think they were 6th in power play opportunities. But other than that, they've never really been a high. It's funny because of McDavid. You'd think it'd be a little bit higher, but it's not. They don't draw a ton of penalties. Now, they don't take a lot of penalties, but they don't draw a lot of penalties. So I look at the orders. To get a top 6, like a legit shooter, is going to cost you a lot. And when I look at their team, the number one priority is a defenseman. I think we'd all agree. That's number one. Number 2 is either going to be internalized to get a fourth line center, or you go out and get one. Then I think it's a winger. Now, Evander Kane comes back. I view Evander Kane as a bottom 6 winger when he returns. And that's because he hasn't played healthy for a year, if not more. Where is he going to be at? I don't know. Now, if he can be a top 6, that's a bonus, but I'm not building my roster post-trade deadline to have Kane as a top 6 guy. I'm going to have him in my bottom 6, and if he plays really well, now we're just way better. And if he struggles to get up to speed and his timing is off, well, at least I plan to have him in a bottom 6 role, and I think it's better off. So could they do it? Yes, but you only have so many assets to give up. And you don't want to waste all of them in one swing. I think Edmonton's in a position here where the next few trade deadlines, they're going to be looking to add every year. How much depends on the roster, depends on a little bit of health and a few other things. But I don't know I don't think they have to find someone who's like a big-time goal scorer, because it's going to be hard. Because there's certain types of players that play well with Draisaitl. You need a good forechecking left winger. So it's got to be a guy who can score goals, but is a good forechecker. If he's a perimeter guy who's not a forechecker and a good finisher, that's not really going to work well with Draisaitl. So, we see that with Jeff Skinner. Now, Jeff Skinner scored a nice goal on the weekend. He's playing with Henrique tomorrow. Or at least he was skating with him in practice today, so we think he's going to play there tomorrow. And I still don't think he's a fit for the style that Draisaitl plays. But he could be a fit maybe with Adam Henrique, because he's always been a guy who knows how to score 5-on-5. He doesn't need, power play time. And Adam Henrique's been a pretty productive player, 6-time 20-goal scorer, 6 or 7. So we'll see. Jeff Skinner, him getting that goal was a nice goal. You saw his reaction. He has missed some good chances. So even guys who are used to scoring, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Skinner goes on a little bit of a goal-scoring run here to end the month. We'll see. Hey, boys, would Trent Frederick be a guy you take a flyer on? Oh, yeah, on Torhill Momes. But if I'm the Boston Bruins, I ain't trading him. He's kind of a unicorn in the style of player he is. He's physical. He's aggressive. He's good defensively. And he's tough. There's just not a lot of guys like that. He's like the typical Boston Bruin player. So I don't know if they trade him, but my goodness, if they would. Now, the question is, what does he want in a salary? That's the other one. But, yeah, I'd have lots of interest in Trent Frederick, but I don't know why the Bruins would trade him. Quick break. When we come back, Ruben Mays will join us on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook. And X, here's the Con Man, Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter, legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, just 4 games on the schedule. Caps in Buffalo, the Canadiens host the Canucks. Quinn Hughes questionable to play in that one. You got the Panthers in Colorado and the Kraken hosting the Devils. In the association, Raptors hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. Tip off 5:30 in that one. You also have the Suns in Philly. Nets hosting the Pacers. Magic take on the Knicks. Grizz host the Mavs, and the Clippers travel to Minnesota. Some news from the NFL. Jacksonville Jaguars have fired head coach Doug Peterson. The Patriots doing the same yesterday with head coach Gerard Mayo. And the Seattle Seahawks firing offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after 1 season. Tough news for the Green Bay Packers. They'll be without Christian Watson after he suffered a season-ending injury in their loss to the Chicago Bears yesterday. According to reports, could be a torn ACL. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by the pride of North Battleford, Saskatchewan, 2-time Pro Bowl running back and College Football Hall of Famer Ruben Mays. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously. The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong.
Guess it's time to get it right. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business. We believe that great projects start from the ground up. Well, to be accurate, great projects start from the underground up. We're GS Construction, and from pipes to drainage systems, we're always laying the groundwork for a better future for Edmonton. While the month of January may be slow for some, GS Construction is gearing up for a busy year ahead, preparing to build, repair, and replace tons of infrastructure to keep your systems running smoothly. To find out more, including new job opportunities, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Also, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Happy Monday. Nice weather out. It's going to be pretty decent for January this week anyway. Anytime it's not minus 20 or below, I'm taking it. That's a big win. Big win. Now, speaking of big wins, let's get to our big guest of the day. Brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. Our next guest knew a thing or two in his childhood about cool winters, born in North Battleford, but then went on to star at Washington State. He's a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, then was the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1986. He's a two-time Pro Bowler, He's in the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame. He's a two-time Pac-10 Player of the Year. Ruben Mays joins us. He also holds the record for most rushing yards in a season by a Canadian running back. Ruben, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Good, Jason. Good to be here.
Hey, it's quite the resume, Ruben. I want to talk about. Tell me about North Battleford Comprehensive High School, and kind of, that was kind of, I guess, your start really to your football career. And what can you remember about your high school days in North Battleford?
Well, a couple things. One is it was a magnet school, and so about 1,000 students. We got students from the surrounding areas, and then we had a great coaching staff. Don Hodgins had recruited teachers and made them into good coaches. So we were really disciplined. Really had a pretty good quality team because we had lots of size on the front line and well coached, and so we were successful and able to win the provincials my junior year. We lost in the finals my senior year.
Now, you were also a pretty good runner, right? You had a provincial record back in 1981 in 100 meters. So you definitely could run. Of course, your sister, former bobsled athlete for Canada, she's pretty quick too. So you got good genetics there, Ruben. But when you played running back, were you also playing on the defensive side of the ball in high school? Did you play both ways?
A little bit. I played defensive back just a little bit. We ran the ball a lot, so carried the ball 25 to 35 times a game. And so that was primarily what I did. And then I did kickoff return, but mostly on the offensive side of the ball. That was our, even though it was, 3 downs, we ran the ball a lot, like a USC or something like that.
So now you're in North Battleford, and we're talking high school here in the early 1980s. There wasn't a ton of Canadian guys going to NCAA scholarships. So take me through that process and the recruitment process. Like how many schools did you go to, and how many scouts were watching you in your senior year?
Well, that's really easy, Jason. I had 0 schools that were recruiting me. My coach, high school coach, Don Hodgins, had spent $500 sending information to colleges in the United States. I got a little sniff from Northwestern, a little letter back from them saying, hey, we recognize you've done a lot in Canada, and then from Drake University. But I found out later, he told me this, that a lot of the Canadian colleges didn't want me to leave the country. So my name didn't really get out there. It's only through Don Hodgins' effort to mail information out on me to various colleges in the Northwest and in the Midwest. Okay, so then how did you end up in Washington? Yeah. Well, this is how it works. Hugh Campbell, who was the GM, longtime GM of the Edmonton Eskimos, was having a coaches training clinic, and one of our coaches from WSU had attended that. And during that time, Hugh had told the coach, hey, this is a guy up in Saskatchewan. I've watched him play. He's really good. And I'm giving you an opportunity to give him a scholarship because, he could really do some things for Washington State University, which was Hugh Campbell's, he was an alumni there. Anyway, at first they were like, we need some film, and they didn't have any film. The film they had was terrible. And so they balked at it. Jim Walden, the head coach at WSU, balked at that. And so he called him a couple times. And the second time he said, listen, if you don't take this guy, I'm going to go to a buddy of mine at Oregon State University. So at the very end, Jim Walden tells me this firsthand. He says, okay, we're going to fly him down there as a favor. We'll fly him down. And so Jim says, they saw me. I was about 6 foot, 6'1", 190 when I walked for breakfast. And they went to the back kitchen. And Jim Walden he said, well, we know he's fast because of his track times. So he goes, what the hell? Let's give him a scholarship. So that's how it happened, Jason. It was really as a favor to Hugh Campbell, and they took a chance on me. Well, that's amazing. And so they just saw you walk in. We've seen his run times. All right, we'll give him a scholarship. So now you're coming there. You'd mentioned it had no scouts. So when you went there, how nervous were you? Like, were you thinking this was a possibility, or you were kind of fully planning that you were going to maybe go and play a university in Canada? I was focused on trying to do the best I could at an American college. And so when I got the scholarship in the United States is it's a 1 year times 4. They renew it every year. My mom drops me off a week early on a Sunday afternoon. I'm sitting there in the stadium and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what have I done? Because all the Canadian colleges wanted me to play for them. But, I just wanted to go for it. Honestly, I just wanted to see how good I could do. So I was pretty nervous, actually. I really was. But I thought about it for a little bit and I said, I'm here. I'm going to do my very best. I'm going to run as hard as I can. I'm going to do everything they want me to. I'm going to go to class, do the best I can in school. And that's what I did. I was really fortunate to have the opportunity as a freshman. I had the freshman rushing record, but I was really nervous coming in. I was pretty raw too, as I found out, but I just used a lot of hard work and I was really stayed healthy, my 4 years at WSU. And, but especially my freshman year, pretty significant.
Two-time NFL Pro Bowler Ruben Mays joins us, and so that's a fantastic story. So you get there, you were 190, and like I remember watching Bo Jackson's film, and he's like, I don't lift weights, right? And so he's like, I'm not, because obviously at that time in the 80s, they were like, everybody's got to be pumping iron, and maybe you're doing some other stuff to gain as much weight. Like, what was the training regime they got you on, and did they try to bulk you up right away?
Well, they have a regime and a way to do that. Typically, at that age, when you're 18 to 21 or 22 years old, it's about 5 pounds per year because you're still growing and all of that for the skill players. So I was adding about 5 pounds a year. I was really strong. I was strong even in high school. I was strongest pound for pound on the team. We had all done all these tests and everything, bench press and all of that. And so I was always a naturally strong guy, but they have training table. And so I just ate a ton of food all the time. And of course you lose weight during the season, but I ended up being like 205, 210 pounds by the time I graduated from Washington State University.
Okay. And you had the record up until 2012 where, what's his name? Kadeem Carey, I think, broke it. You had the NCAA most rushing yards in one game that you set in 1984, and it held all the way through to till 2012. 357 rushing yards. And like, how tired, how banged up were you after that game?
Not at all, actually. It was so unique because actually Jim Walton says that's the most yards I've ever seen where everyone barely got hit. Honestly, Jason, we ran the ball. We ran this draw play almost every time, and there's some sweeps. But just the way they were set up, I just was able to run. I'd break a couple tackles each time, but nothing really physical. I actually was just tired. I wasn't really beat up at all. And it worked out. I was just getting 10, 15, 25, great blocking up front. The field was a little bit slick. And I think that played a role in me getting so many yards. And then we had to run the ball because they were running the ball, going back and forth. And so it ended up that way. Our passing game wasn't very good. Mark Rippon even says, hey, man, I had 72 yards that game. No one talks about that. He was a quarterback. And but that's just how it worked out. And the situation from the week before against Stanford, we came back, the largest comeback in the history of the NCAA. I had a couple hundred yards that game. So it kind of was building this momentum for this time in Eugene. And that's when I really got propelled into the national limelight after that game.
And, you had a great career there. You ended up getting voted to the all-time WSU team. And then that was in 95. And then even by CougFan.com, you were in there as one of the school's all-time greatest players. You got inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in May of 2008, which is obviously a massive accomplishment. But so your college career, it was great. Then you finish and you get drafted by the Saskatchewan Roughriders, second overall in the CFL draft in 1986. But then you're also drafted in the third round, 57th overall by the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, you want to go to the NFL. Take me through. So you had nobody coming to interview you when you went to college. I'm guessing you at least had a few NFL teams talking to you before the draft.
Yeah, I talked to the head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs as well as Chicago Bears. I was ranked number 3, number 4 in terms of running backs in the college coming up into the draft. And the only question mark they had on me, Jason, was two things. One is, can I play out of the pro style offense? So we played in a split back where there was an option offense. Pro style was I formation. You kind of pick and choose where you go. And then passing game, I caught some passes, but they, more elaborate in the pros where they dump the ball off to you. And so a couple question marks. So I'm sitting there, interviewed, still ranked really high among running backs. Draft is going. I'm at my apartment with my then girlfriend, now my wife of 37 years from college, Marie Mays, and nothing's happening. Supposed to go toward the second half of the first round. Nothing happened. Second round goes by. Nothing happens. Daryl Clack, I had mentioned this before, from Arizona State, gets drafted ahead of me. He's in Arizona State, and he was way below. He was ranked right, below me. I was ticked off. I really was, honestly. I said, if they don't respect me enough in the NFL, I'm done. I'm going to become a lawyer, go back to Canada, and that's the end of it. And that's the honest truth. And then right after that, I got a call from Jim Morridge Sr., the head coach of the Saints, and he said, hey, we're happy to have you as a Saints player. So that was my introduction into the NFL. I didn't even know where New Orleans was, honestly. I had to look it up on the map, and oh my gosh, it's way down there. And so, but I got there. They had drafted a lot of running backs because it was a new regime, the Bum Phillips era, and Jim Moore was brought in to get us to the playoffs and all of that. So there was a lot of competition. Earl Campbell, Dalton Hilliard was drafted in the second round from LSU. He was an All-American also. So we had a really crowded room. And I remember doing an interview with the Times-Picayune the day after I got there. And they said, well, Ruben, you're from like Washington State, from the Pac-10. And, we have Dalton Hilliard, we have Barry Word, we have Earl Campbell. So what are where are you going to do? Are they going to move you to a different position? I said, what? I said, no, I'm going to start here. Next day, big headlines, running back controversy. May says he's going to start. So there you go. That's how I kind of got my entree into the New Orleans Saints, and the rest is history.
Now, did your teammates juice you about that one? What happens with that time, or was it? It's a really competitive nature, but obviously there's fun loving. It's a fine balance. How'd that go over?
It was okay. When you got all pro people like Ricky Jackson and Sam Mills and Morton Anderson, our kicker, they're all three of those people are in the NFL Hall of Fame. You really have to earn it. And I earned respect a couple ways. One was a fight I got into second week in the training camp. I'm not going to name names, but as a linebacker, this guy, I was going out of bounds. It was inside drill, and he just launched me into the crowd. I was tired. We were doing 2-a-days. Back then, full pads, 6 weeks, right? And so everyone's tired. Guy launched me in there. I just lost it. I grabbed this linebacker. I threw him to the ground, started wailing on him. And that right after that practice, Ricky Jackson comes out and says, man, okay, we're not messing with you no more. You're good, kind of thing. Anyway, the next day they cut that linebacker. And so, you had to kind of earn it. And then my running back coach, Jim Skipper, the second reason was our first meeting with Earl Campbell and Dalton Hilliard and all these guys sitting around. He says, hey, this is my family. I'm here to evaluate talent. He says, if you produce, you will start here. You will play here. And that was really good for me. I just knew that if I could, help the team produce to win football games, I could play. And so that was my mindset. I'm here to get stuff done.
Ruben Mays joins us, and you got stuff done, Ruben. In your rookie season, you had 1,353 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns. You also, back then, running backs didn't catch the ball a ton out of the backfield, but you still had 96 receiving yards in that one as well. It's just an unbelievable year. You're the Rookie of the Year award from Associated Press. Kind of just tell me how. Here's a young Canadian guy. Now you're in New Orleans, a place you didn't even know you had to look up on the map. And you started 12 out of the 16 games. You still had 1,300 rushing yards.
I had a sore left Achilles midway through training camp, and I had a little tendonitis. And so I was really nervous about that. This is my first time. I don't know anyone in the NFL. I have no uncles or, anything like that for a reference. So I was pretty nervous. And so I went and talked to the head coach. He said, oh, you're doing great. We're going to rest you for a few games, and then we're going to work you in. And so that's what they did. And so I started playing a little bit like the second or third game of the season. And then it's just, it went off from there. It just came naturally to me. I talked about not playing in the pro style. Well, what I liked about the pro style being in the I formation versus split back was, you get a pitch and then you have a couple of points that you look like on the line in terms of the right heel of the right tackle or the inside foot of the left guard. And so I love that. I was an instinctive runner. And so I would just point to that spot when I came out of my stance, got the ball, and I could instinctively set up blocks in milliseconds and, make people miss. And I was a slashing type guy. So it was wonderful for me to have that time to set things up and make a play and make cuts and that sort of thing against the grain. So it worked out great in that regard. And staying healthy and working through carrying the ball 25, 30 times a game because our passing game wasn't very good. Mind-boggling. It really was, because I'm going from small town Pullman, where Washington State is. Now I'm in New Orleans, and they're a huge football city. And so they're like Ruben Mays and all this, radio shows and all kinds of things. And then to win All Pro and Rookie of the Year my first year, I got this gold Rolex with Lawrence Taylor in New York. I was flown to New York, had this luncheon, got this gold Rolex. I mean, all these different things that happened to me after that season. Pretty unbelievable.
Now, you just pulled that Rolex on. So it's still working. It's still that. So you're wearing it all the time. I love it.
Terrible time, but hey, it looks good. It works fine. I've had it, redone and everything, but it reminds me, it's a perpetual motion. So it reminds me of that you have to kind of keep on keeping on, and you got to keep having a bold vision, and you got to keep going for it. And that's why I wear that watch every day, because that's, to me, is what life is about. Is just, embracing ambiguity. And that's what I did with a lot of people that helped me along the way. Coaches, Don Hodgins, Jim Skipper, Jim Mora, Hugh Campbell. And so, I call them links to the train of my life on the way to doing what I did. And my wife, obviously, of 37 years, Marie's been fantastic. She's, my number one fan, and I'm her number one fan. And so I'm very grateful for that experience. And, I'm talking too much here a little bit, but coming from North Battleford, 13,000 people, farming community, and Hutterites, indigenous folks. I had to be part of all of that, and to have those roots, those basic roots of hard work, recognize others that are helping you along, perseverance. Man, I learned that from being in North Battleford, and I carried that. I was so proud. I still am to this day. That's what I'm most proud of, honestly, from where I came from. Is it was Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia. That area. We had lots of relatives in Alberta too. But that's the part that I'm most proud of in terms of what I was able to accomplish as an NFL player.
Ruben Mays, our guest today. Ruben, we're going to take a quick break. I got lots more to get to next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Just when the weather is raising your nosy, someone's got a new menu that's tasty and cozy. What? It's Booster Juice. Now you can warm up and chow down with a savory selection of grilled fresh favorites. Breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak, and chicken paninis. Topped with melty cheese, creamy pesto, spicy chipotle. Grilled fresh options made in-house, warm and delicious. Made daily with the finest ingredients. Cozy comfort food at Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
327. Welcome back, Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And our big guest today, of course, is a 2-time Pro Bowler. He is in the College Football Hall of Fame. Ruben Mays, of course, in his rookie season, rushed for 1,353 yards, which is still the most rushing yards by a Canadian ever in an NFL season. And Ruben, I know I'm assuming you were watching closely, seeing Chuba Hubbard. He had a chance to do it. Unfortunately, you talked about health, but like it's great to see, and it just shows you how hard it is. There's been a long time between running backs, but it's kind of cool to see another guy from Western Canada having himself a great year. How closely were you watching Chuba's season?
Oh, I was watching him every day. About the quarter of the season, I said, this guy has produced quite a bit in the previous year, and he was, on track to do some things and making some big plays, and the thing that you learn in NFL is like players make plays, and he was making plays and helping his team win. So it was really fun to see him produce, and then, to break 1,000. That's when folks realize it's been 38 years since that's happened. And so that's when I really kind of cued into what he was doing. And I was really pulling for him. At first I was kind of conflicted, but then I read, wait, it's been 38 years. Someone has to come along, right? and kind of build on what I had done, back in 1986. So I was pulling for him. He's got a great yards per carry, really smooth runner. And again, pardon me, turn this off. And the other part of that is this is a team like the Saints that were trying to, break through and have a winning season. Of course, they've had some challenges, and we're just kind of finishing out the season. But that was a positive for him. I could tell by his teammates too when he got 1,000 yards. That's when he, they celebrated that. And you could tell he's a real leader on the team. So it was really fun to watch, and I was pulling for him. But again, it's all about staying healthy and staying able to be in a position to make yards and produce.
Now, speaking of it, you look at your first 3 years in New Orleans. Obviously your first year was your best year. You had a really good followed up that season. Then you got banged up there. The 1989 year where you sat out the entire season. What was the injury that caused you to sit out?
Yeah, so that was my Achilles. I had an Achilles surgery, and I just needed more time to heal. And that was a tough thing for me. It was. I have a genetic defect from my mom. I have these Achilles tendons, and they're small for my body. I'm really strong. I'm just really strong for my weight. And so I got tendonitis in my left Achilles, and I got tendonitis in my right Achilles. So each year, my first and third year, I had this procedure done to make them bigger. And then in the middle of that, my second year, I had a knee surgery. It's a wild card game against Minnesota Vikings where I tore 2 ligaments. So I had 3 surgeries in 3 years. Supposed to go to the Pro Bowl. First 2 years, couldn't even go. I wasn't able to go because I wanted to stay in rehab and all that kind of stuff. So it was really mentally taxing. So I got to my 5th year, had to sit out because of my right Achilles wasn't recovering as well. And that's what happened.
So when you came back from that injury, Ruben, and we got for people out there, like the rehab and the surgeries in 1989 are a lot different than what you have today, right? Like there's the advancements and, the surgery was much more invasive back then than it is now. Was it noticeable for you? Did you not have the same explosiveness post-surgery?
I felt I did. I felt I still as explosive because it's just Achilles. The knee, it took about 9 months to come back from, and I was in contract renegotiation. That's a long story. But it was not having a break. I never had a break any of the off seasons. My 5 years with the Saints. There's always something I had to deal with. So that was tough. And, if I had a chance to get back and do some things and get my body re-energize and get healthy and all of that, but just never could. And that's why I retired after 5 years. I was just like, I need a rest. And it's really unique. But that's what I felt was important for me. And so that's what I did. I took a year off, went back to school, and then I said, I want to come back. And I worked out for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they wanted to sign me. I worked out, ran to 40 and caught the ball and did all this stuff. And they said, yeah, you're ready to go. And then the Seahawks, same thing. And ended up, because I'm from Washington State, signed with the Seahawks. They traded me for a 3rd-round draft pick. And that was a great experience also.
Ruben Mays joins. Now, Ruben, did your brother Chris, did he not play? Did he play at North Dakota?
He played at Boise State. He was a linebacker.
Okay.
Yes.
So your brother, you got pretty good genetics in your family. Your brother went there. Your sister was in bobsleigh. So your brother Chris, Chris younger than you?
Yes, he is. He's 58 years old, and 59 years old now in June. So yeah, he was a linebacker. Lisa Stringer, great athlete. I call her, she's probably the best athlete of the whole entire family. she's almost 6 feet tall, 140 pounds. People probably wouldn't want me to say that, but anyway, but being a heptathlete and then going on and competing internationally in bobsled. So my dad was a really good athlete in his own right. Nothing, competitively wise, but he skated, he played baseball, he boxed a little bit, kind of the smoker thing. My mom was a middle distance runner. So I have some really good genes. Not only athletically, but just health-wise. And so I feel very fortunate in that regard.
So when you watch, and even when you were playing, Ruben, who were some of the other running backs that you were a big fan of in your playing days?
Oh, man. So Walter Payton, who I got to meet in person my second year. Roger Craig, Tony Dorsett. That's my era, right? And of course, Earl Campbell, who was my next door locker mate at New Orleans. He actually ended up retiring the year, my first year, but he went through the draft, and then in the fall, he ended up retiring. But I got to meet Earl and talk to him and just get to know him better. So, Roger Craig, Tony Dorsett, Walter Payton, who I practiced against.
What do you think of Barry Sanders?
Amazing. Yeah. Barry is a guy that was able to run full speed and change direction and go lateral and then cut and go full speed again. That's really unique for your joints, your knees and all of that. And he was able to do that, and also very strong. And so, and also being a key guy. I mean, they didn't have much of a passing game. I remember watching him, and so they knew he was getting the ball, and he still, made it happen. And so that's impressive.
Now you look at today's game and the players all around, everybody's bigger, stronger, there's food difference, all that stuff. But there's still the dynamic. And you talked about like the cutback runners. Like you look at what Saquon Barkley did this year, coming back, he gets out of New York and there's his style. And then you've got the other type of running back, which is Derrick Henry, who's just an absolute beast and runs over guys. As somebody who understands, how to be a scat back runner, but also it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care how small, how big you are, how quick you are. Eventually you got to run over guys if you want to be a successful running back.
Right.
When you watch the game today, Ruben, and you see kind of the differences, like there used to be big fullbacks, but they didn't carry the ball as much. Now you've got Derrick Henry is obviously, maybe the biggest of the, but there's lots of guys like that. Like the positions really changed a bit.
Well, the sizes haven't really changed. There are guys that were 5'9", 190 up to 6'3", 230 kind of guys. The key is speed and your ability to, once you're got an opening, that you're able to hit it, and then yards after contact. And we are measured with yards after contact. When I played every game, you're evaluated for on all. You're expected to get 4 yards a carry. So the fullback I think is better today than it was when I played. We had a fullback, Buford Jordan, but the speed hasn't changed. So we look at the combine, and I did the combine in Indianapolis, and I was like a 4.41, 4.42 guy electronically, and that's still pretty fast. So the speed hasn't changed. The guys are. I see more of the running back from Atlanta is really good. He's 5'11", 215. That's where I see the improvement a little bit, where they're 5'11", but now they're instead of 205, 210 or 215, and way better put together. And that's, to me, is the difference from when I played to what we have today.
So your playing career ended in 1993 with Seattle, and then you went back and got your master's in business administration degree. What have you been doing the last few years?
Yeah, so first of all, coming from Saskatchewan, I never thought that I would have an NFL career. I always said, I'm going to do my very best, and I'm going to have a career after I play football. So everything I did was geared around that. I worked as a financial consultant my first 2 off seasons for Merrill Lynch. I got a Series 7, Series 63, but that didn't work out because it was just busy. And so I said, I got to do something that's going to help me pivot to a new career, a different life. And so I went back and took a year off and got an MBA. It's a 2-year program, but I just, barreled down on it and got it done. And so I've been in philanthropy, starting with health, with academia in terms of partnerships and philanthropy. And now I'm in healthcare. And I've been doing that for like the last 15 years in leadership as well as philanthropy from a healthcare perspective. I work with a large healthcare organization called Seattle Children's Hospital, which is the largest children's hospital in the country. We cover over 1 million square miles, and the top rated children's hospital in the West Coast, tied with Rady down in San Diego, down in LA, pardon me. But one of the top 10 in the country. So I'm really fortunate to be in a position where I was able to transition into academia and then into healthcare at a leadership level, and also in philanthropy, and to stay in that role.
And I was reading up on your past history, when kind of how your family came to Saskatchewan. Yeah. It says that you were direct descendants of the Shiloh people, which was named after the Shiloh, excuse me if I said it wrong, the Baptist church, where some of your ancestors were facing persecution in racially charged Oklahoma, and you were promised land in Saskatchewan. A, is that true? And B, that I'm assuming that stems really a lot of why you take the pride in North Battleford, because there was an opportunity for your family just to live a life.
Yeah, so 1910, and there's been a whole historical documentation of this. Of actually a book called The Gully, and so Joe and Mattie Mays and 80 Mays families came from Oklahoma Territory, and there was free land being offered in Saskatchewan, where for homesteaders, if you cleared it, you got a quarter section. If you cleared it, you owned it, and so that information got back to Joe and Mattie. They brought and settled in what's called Maidstone area. It's this gully, it's a valley with first generation Germans and Ukrainians. And so we still have that farm that Joe Mays and then Harvey Mays, my dad's dad, owned. It's called Pleasant View. And we rent it out now, but I spent many summers growing up there, in hunting and doing different things. But that's where we settled. Now, even when the Mays family settled in that area, the government said, we really want white settlers to do this homesteading. We weren't anticipating having African Americans do it. So there was, after quite a few settled, they dissuaded a lot of African Americans from settling because of the harsh climate and everything, and just because they were assuming it would be for German settlers and for Ukrainian or white Europeans. But that's life, right? And I'm so proud of my heritage of Joe and Mattie Mays, Harvey Mays, and Lucille, my grandparents, my dad, and my mom. And to this day, Maidstone, I've been there many, many times, obviously. That's like, again, I'm so fortunate to have that as my roots and know that. And then the resilience, but also embracing an opportunity. And that's how I look at it. They came, didn't know, they embraced it, 40 below weather we talked about. And that's what I think I take from that heritage.
Well, Ruben, one of our hosts here, Al Mitchell, who shows right before me, he's from Maidstone. So he'll be fired up.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So it talks about it all the time. Anybody's driven, it's the running gag about on the highway, the sign of Maidstone. So yeah, he talks about it often. So it's
absolutely
fantastic. Ruben, it was great to catch up with you. I really appreciate it. Happy to hear you were watching Chuba Hubbard. Of course, it's funny in hockey right now. Gretzky's record might be broken by Alex Ovechkin, which people thought never would. And
yeah,
your record stood since 1986. It's safe at least for another year, and hopefully sometime in your lifetime, someone will make a big run at it. So you can watch from interest.
Bound to happen. But I'm just grateful to have that opportunity and to accomplish what was accomplished, and a lot of people were part of that, and just been fantastic ride. Still riding.
You know what? We have so many texts from people from that either played against your brother Chris in college, or people that are from North Battleford, and how proud they are. Of course, one of the biggest names ever to come out of there, to have a two-time Pro Bowler get named to the NCAA College Football Hall of Fame is a remarkable career, and all you're doing in philanthropy and everything else. It sounds like you've lived a full life, Ruben, and made the most of it. That's awesome. So thanks so much for joining us. I would love to have you on again sometime.
Anytime, Jason. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Great talking to you.
You too. That's Ruben Mays, who, of course, as the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year in 1986, had 1,353 yards, and he wasn't even their starting running back to start the season. He took over, as you mentioned, had a little bit of an injury, and it wasn't until like week 3 or 4 where he became the starter. And what a career! What a well-spoken guy! Unbelievable. And I really enjoyed that. So thanks to the con man for setting that up. We got a lot of texts coming in about Ruben Mays and lots in the order, so we'll get to that and more. The 2-minute warning with Tate when we return on the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, and Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Some might like to play hide and seek or even that Where's Waldo game. But out of sight, out of mind is never something GS Construction ever says. Yes, what's underground might be out of sight for everyone, but it's never out of mind for GS Construction because it's not fun and games ensuring Edmonton's underground infrastructure works for you. We take our job very seriously, and even though we may look like we're pretending to be groundhogs, we're really keeping things running smoothly. To find out more, including new job opportunities, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, BDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road, Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Get ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their division. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Slapshot Special. Add a 2-liter Pepsi product to a large one-topping pizza and garlic Parmesan breadsticks and bundle it for only $25.99. Use promo code hockey24 at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.350, welcome back, man. We got a lot of texts coming in our email inbox, 833-401-1440. Hey, boys, no way. Joe and Maddie are my great-great-grandparents. Maddie lived up to 104 years old and was a midwife in the Maidstone area for decades and delivered hundreds of babies, white, black, and Indigenous from Jordan. Well, hey, there you go, Jordan. You must be, you got to be a cousin somehow to Ruben Mays, I would think. That's fantastic. But you know what? A great story about perseverance, man. You think about 1910, coming up from Oklahoma and just starting a homestead. And it's a different time. Like I don't even know if we can truly understand. Like everybody has different challenges. The challenges now today are very financial for a lot of people. Like the price of everything is outrageous. But you looked at back then, it was just survival, right? You build a cabin that you can live in and survive, and then go from there. And so it's very different. Hey, guys, Mays set the standard for a powerful running tradition in the Seahawk franchise. I love watching him pound the rock. That one comes from Manny. Hey, boys, unreal interview with Ruben. Get him on again. Led a good life. Lots of lessons and shared, and not just in football, from Jumping Jack Flash. Very true. Very true. He was really well-spoken, Cons. He was fantastic. Hey, guys, thanks for having Ruben on today. Great interview and always great to go down memory lane. He was a special talent. He was head and shoulders the finest athlete from that era and obviously from that area. Cheers. Hi to him from an old sportscaster guy back in the day at CJNB Sports Radio in North Battleford from Scott Hall. Attaboy, Scotty. I like it. Yeah, he was, you know what? Well, you talk to people who played against Chuba Hubbard, right? Like there's elite athletes in one area are the ones, and it's rare, and they can go on and you can talk about it in hockey. You know, some of you had an opportunity to play against this guy or that guy, and they go on and I think sometimes people forget just how good you have to be to make it to be a pro player, right? To just get to the NHL, you got to be so good. And I think a lot of people kind of downplay, wow, he's not McDavid, he's not that good. No, they're really good. They're just not McDavid. He's crazy, like elite, freakish good. And Ruben Mays, like what an unreal rookie season. Like if you look now, I know most rushing yards by a rookie, Eric Dickerson, I think still has it when he had over 1,800 yards. But Ruben's got to be close to top 10, I would think. Might want to look that up, Cons, for most rookie rushing yards. I got to think he's there at 1,300. Actually, no, now I got it. No, he's like 17th. But he had a lot fewer carries than a lot of the other guys ahead of him because he only started in 12 of the 16 games. So I'm looking at his yards per carry. Yeah, so Bettis had more. Earl Campbell had more. Barry Sanders. Mike Anderson. Alfred Morris. That was it. So it's pretty good. But Eric Dickerson, 1,808 yards as a rookie in 1983. Ezekiel Elliott had 1,631. Forgot about that in 2016. That's it's pretty impressive. Even Alfred Morris with Washington had 12 in 2012. He had 1,613. So not bad at all. And think about Dickerson. Dickerson also had 404 receiving yards, right? Remember Edgerrin James, pretty good receiver out of the backfield. So that's still, I don't care. He's top 20 all-time rookie rushers in NFL history. Got to be doing something pretty good as a rookie. No doubt about it. Boys, unreal interview. Learned a lot. Would love to have him back on. I loved how he said he was torn at first, but then wanted to cheer for him. I could see how it might be difficult seeing someone break your record, but then ultimately you realize it's a good thing. Well, you know what? It's true. And there's nothing wrong with if we view something one way to say, you know what, maybe I'm going to change how I view things, whether it's in sports, whether it's in politics, whatever. And I would think, it's 1986. That's the and really, it's not only the 1,300 yards, Cons. It's no one had ever gotten 1,000 as a Canadian running back until Chuba Hubbard from 1986 to 2024. That is, that's a pretty long stretch and shows you just how hard it is. Never mind to get to the NFL, but to rush for 1,000 yards as a Canadian-born player. So, and born and raised. So it's not like you're born in Canada, but then you played your whole career elsewhere. Both those guys grew up playing football in Saskatchewan and Alberta. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I just wonder, without guys like Ruben Mays, I'm sure there's others. I don't want to, disrespect anyone, but all of a sudden NFL scouts start looking, right? And obviously the rise of technology helped out a lot, and they're able to scout these Canadian players, but more than ever, you're seeing guys jump in there. Chase Brown, another one who, if it's not for injury, I mean, he could be a legitimate threat to break that record next year with the Cincinnati Bengals if he plays the full season. So Josh Palmer, Javon Holland, you just go around the league. There's a ton of these guys that are making plays coming from Canada. And, I feel like Ruben getting that start and having a lot of people say, oh, maybe Canada is a place we should start looking for talent because the guys are there.
Well, you think about the fact that they had no film for them to, and if it wasn't for his coach, and then Hugh Campbell, right?
Yeah.
Like Hugh Campbell, former Saskatchewan Roughrider, had seen him play, and for Hugh to to say no, you guys should go after him, and like that's awesome. It doesn't in life. You a lot of times you just need somebody who believes in you, and to give you an opportunity. And Ruben Mays got an opportunity, and then took it, and was a Rookie Player of the Year for New Orleans, and then obviously had a good NFL career and has done a lot with it. But for most people, at some point, you need someone to believe in you and give you a shot. It's just how it is. Let's get to the 2-minute warning. Speaking of a shot, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. Furnace breaks down tonight. On the weekend, call them. No OT. That's Legacy Heating. Here's Cam Tate. Of course, Cam Tate has cerebral palsy in a wheelchair. He's always wanted to be on the radio, but his disability didn't allow it until now. When the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Kevin Bietska. He's quite enjoyable, I find, on the big Saturday night broadcast, Hockey Night in Canada. Bietska made, I think, a great point Saturday night when the topic of the World Junior Hockey Championships, and specifically the Canadians, who not did qualify for the medal round. Again, there's been much water cooler chat about how the tournament's host country not advancing, which is a fair comment, but Bietska made a compelling point, motioning to his Hockey Night in Canada panel mate, Kelly Rudy. Rudy, along with Wayne Gretzky, brought hockey to California, and along with other notable NHL superstars, hockey began to grow hockey. In the U.S., people got on the wave in Los Angeles, where Gretzky and Rudy played. More kids with United States birth certificates were exposed to hockey. They liked it. They excelled. And now, 37 years since Gretzky went to Los Angeles. And if you wanted to see the results, all you had to do was see that gold championship game Sunday night. Wow, a hell of a hockey game. Finland and the United States needed overtime. Make that 3-on-3 overtime. The States won 4-3 for their first. Their first, you understand, Uncle Pete, back-to-back world championships. And even though Canadians might be a little grumpy to see this on our own ice, but let's recognize it, accept it, and pay attention. Christopher and Matthew, learn from it. It's interesting. One of the best newspaper editors I ever had, Alan Mayer, told me something I've never forgotten. The importance and value of reinventing yourself. In other words, take what has made you successful in the past. Look at how people, some being your biggest opponents, are adding new things to the game you love. Then grab Grandma Anderson's mixer, fire it up, and always remember, you will never lose the raw talent that has got you where you are. So how about this? Hockey Canada do everything they can to make sure teams will meet the new bar, and maybe exceed it. Perhaps such a philosophy is a noble opportunity for young men aged 16 to 20. It could be one of the greatest life lessons they will learn. Check out my Try Again podcast on all your podcast platforms. 2-minute warning with me, Tate, Monday, Friday. Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
Well, hey, here I want to say this about the World Juniors. I don't love the rest of the world's catching up excuse. I'm sorry. I don't really buy that at all. When was the last time Sweden won a gold medal? And just because the other countries are catching up doesn't mean that you can just excuse the process. And they hired the wrong coach. There's no debating on that. And then you look at some of their selection process, they did not take all the best players. Now, you might not take all the best players, and it's not just points, but those are a pretty big factor last time I checked in hockey. What happened in the tournament? What did Canada struggle at the most? Scoring goals. Right? Don't tell me that Canada suddenly doesn't have the talent. I ain't buying it. But you need the whole proper thing. And so this is 2 years in a row, and hopefully it's a wake-up call for them to be better in their process. I don't like to be an ageist, but why are you telling me that Cameron was the best possible coach available? I don't see how. Why? What has he done at the junior level that would say, man, this guy's got to be the no-brainer. We got to give him another opportunity. Why? Because he knows people? Because that's seemed to be because Dave Cameron, when you look at him and his coaching style here, he talked about, wow, they know what a penalty is. What can I do? What? You're the head coach. You're the one that controls the ice time. You sit down very calmly. You don't have to yell and scream. Hey, boys, we're taking too many undisciplined penalties. You take another one, you'll miss a shift or two. Right? You can still play aggressive. The easiest example is Leon Draisaitl, Hart Trophy winner, one of the best players in the world. 4 games into the season this year. 4. He had taken 4 minors. 2 of them undisciplined late in the second period. Well, guess what? The second time it happened, Leon Draisaitl sat down. I think he might have missed 3 shifts, maybe only 2. It was only 5 minutes. But guess what? The message was sent. You know how many minor penalties Leon Draisaitl has taken since then? Any guesses? How about 2? Okay, he had 4 in the first 4 games. He's taken 2 in the last 35 games. Don't tell me that you as a coach can't very calmly, very directly get the player's attention. Challenge him. Hey, man, Leon, we know you're our best player, but, man, I can't have you take an undisciplined penalty. Just can't do it. You're one of our leaders. That's a coach's job. Dave Cameron, what do you want? They know what a penalty is. What? That was there's certain answers that, why don't you just tell us that you're quitting? And then he doesn't practice ever? Oh, because they're tired? Why? Did they have to travel farther than the other teams? Don't think so. Did the other teams practice? Yeah. Now, you might not have intense practices. I get it. But you could get on there. Oh, geez, our power play's not working. Let's get out there and let's do some stuff. Heck, put tennis balls out there. Have some damn fun. Incorporate something exciting. Did nothing. It's like he just quit. I don't have any answers here. Just going to throw my hands up. Okay, guys, I can't figure it out. I'm sorry. It was a joke, but please don't give me the rest of the world is catching up stuff. Okay? I don't buy it. You could have a game or two, the Latvia game, but still, that doesn't mean Canada should have lost in the quarterfinals. Right? They outplayed Latvia, didn't score. Fine. They still would have finished second regardless. Wasn't going to change anything, the outcome of that game. But their process on, get a coach who relates to the players. There was a clear disconnect between Cameron and the players, and that's obvious. And, you look at it, it's been the head coach in Ottawa. They've had some success. Haven't won more than 1 playoff round in his 3 years. Why is he the coach? That's my only question. Why is he the coach? I didn't get it. So look at it, Salmon and everybody else, and take pride and say, hey, yeah, we have high expectations in Canada. That's okay. Have high expectations. But, and then here's one last thing about it. So I know I love the tournament for what the tournament is. I don't like it when people try to project the tournament outcome means other big thing. Oh, this team's way better. Canada's 3 best forwards weren't on the team because they're in the NHL. Macklin Celebrini, Connor Bedard, both age eligible, and Zach Benson. They're all in the NHL, either in their second or first years. Okay? None of the States guys are there. So, yes, U.S. won, and they deserved it. They played very well. But does that mean now that they're ahead of Canada? No, you have to look at all the big picture. And the World Juniors is never a great representation of who's the best. It's who has the best team in the tournament. And the U.S. had the best team. Doesn't mean they're the best country. They're the best team. They played the best. They deserve to win. No question about it. But Canada looks and says, hey, we got a lot of good players. Well, then how about this one? I know this is crazy outside the box thinking. Maybe take most of your best players. Just a thought. Just an idea. Let's get to the Conman Sports 1440 update brought to you by our good friends at Booster Juice, where stop in right now at Booster Juice, and you can shake the wintertime blues and enjoy one of their many warm and savory grilled fresh food options made in-house daily with the finest ingredients. Visit a Booster Juice today or download the Boosters Reward app.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Light night in the NHL, just 4 games on the schedule. You got the Sabres and the Capitals at 5 at 5:30. The Canucks taking on the Canadians. Couldn't use game time decision in that one. At 7, the Avs host the Panthers. Then at 8 o'clock, the Devils in Seattle. The Oilers back in action, taking on Boston tomorrow at 5. In the association, Raptors hosting the Bucks. That'll get going at 5:30. You also have the Knicks in the Magic. Spurs in Chicago. Grizz take on the Mavs. Clippers up against the Timberwolves. Kings host the Heat. And the Trailblazers taking on the Pistons. From the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars have fired head coach Doug Peterson. The team did retain GM Trent Baalke. Also the New England Patriots yesterday moving on from head coach Gerard Mayo. And the Seattle Seahawks firing offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just 1 season. Bad news for the Green Bay Packers. Looks like they'll be without wide receiver Christian Watson after he suffered a season-ending knee injury yesterday in the team's loss to the Chicago Bears. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear comments from Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch, be joined by Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine, and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Oodle Noodle origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protect it at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash soap. Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Delicious news. The McDonald's meals you love are now $9.99 every day. Grab your faves like the Big Mac, 6-piece McNugget, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish with medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99 each plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Edmonton, Alberta, and the surrounding area. Prices exclude delivery.
Are you losing sleep over your debt? Being hounded by collection calls? My name is Parveen Middleton, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I understand this can be a stressful situation, and I'm here to help. I can put a stop to these collection calls and guide you towards your debt-free future. All it takes is one phone call. Let's discuss your debt relief options during a free consultation. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Get ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their division. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team at Old Strathcona has special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. When you play in Alberta, all your money stays in Alberta, but only at PlayAlberta.ca. It goes right back to your communities to help fund services that make our lives better. So play in Alberta, it stays in Alberta at PlayAlberta.ca. Oilers practice today in Boston. Well, they will take on the Bruins tomorrow. And if I'm saying this somewhat tongue in cheek, if you are into line combinations or not, the Oilers, a few different ones today, as Jeff Skinner was up with Hyman and Henrique, and you had Janmark with Kapanen and Perry. Derek Ryan looking like the extra forward. Once again, Brown still on the top line with McDavid and Nugent Hopkins. I wonder how long that, Nugent Hopkins is scoring now, though. That's a good sign for him. Podkolzin scored last game. Him, Draisaitl and Arvidsson stay together. D pairs obviously remain the same. Josh Brown is on the trip with the team just because they're traveling out. They're basically here on like an 8-game road trip. And, if you get an injury to one of your defensemen, then obviously they, you want to have a guy there just on the off chance. Now, if you got someone hurt in Boston game, could you fly him into Pittsburgh? You could, but they obviously elected to bring Josh Brown. If you missed that, he was recalled on the weekend. I could see him staying up maybe for all of the games, possibly. Although Colorado, Minnesota are a little bit closer. And, maybe they set him down because when he's on the roster, they're just not accruing as much cap space, which is obviously important for them. And then they, after this road trip, they have a 6-game homestand in Edmonton that starts on the Tuesday, the 21st, and ends with a game in early February against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the Oilers, winners of both games on the weekend. My one concern would be that, you had a 3-goal lead that evaporated to a 1-goal lead. You had a 2-goal lead that evaporated to a tie before they won. Their third periods lately, if there's been one trend that is a little bit concerning, that would be it. But not every game is going to be a Picasso by any stretch of the imagination. And when you consider, we talked about this at the start of the show, but Montreal just beat Vegas, Colorado, Tampa, and Florida. Anaheim beat Winnipeg, New Jersey, and Edmonton. Detroit's beaten Carolina and Boston. San Jose has beaten 2 playoff teams. A lot of the bottom feeders here since Christmas, the last 10 days, they've won a lot of games against the top teams. So there's never an easy game. There's never a guarantee in the National Hockey League. That's obvious. And so while it wasn't, the prettiest games by the Edmonton Oilers, it's still very good. And since November 1st, the Oilers have the second best record in the NHL, only behind Vegas. So they've been, I think it's safe to say they've been playing pretty good hockey. If you go to December 1st, it's actually since December 1st, it's Vegas first, LA second, the Oilers third in points percentage. So that Pacific Division right now, pretty darn good. And that's why LA and Edmonton, one of them would love to catch Vegas, as Vegas is 6 points up on both of those teams. And then obviously LA or Edmonton are going to want to beat the other one because you finish third now in the Pacific. If you're Edmonton, you got to go into LA and into Vegas, right? And just go the other way. If you're LA, you got to go into Edmonton, into Vegas. Like it's not now, assuming I guess that Vegas doesn't get upset in the first round if they finish first or whoever finishes first. But it just makes the road a lot harder. And right now, the Pacific Division it's got 3 of the top teams in the league. Like it is a tough place to be right now. So you got 3 of the top 7 teams in LA, Vegas, and Edmonton. And really, it's probably 3 of the top 6 if Edmonton wins one of their 2 games in hand on Toronto. So it's really tight right now. And that's why it's not how you win the games. It's as long as you win the games. Like, I don't think Edmonton carried over bad habits from the Anaheim game to Seattle. They came out and they dominated that game. Like, you know what? Now, the only thing is right now I see like McDavid's finish. Like, how many breakaways has he missed here just in the last 3 games? I think it's 4, right? Like, so he's good news, creating the chances, bad news, not finishing them. So, you know, if we're looking at things that I think probably would change, that would likely be it. I would think that he could come in and be better, just you know, on his finishing. Hey boys, Gregor, what's the Oilers' power play? Everybody keeps complaining about it, but hasn't their power play been pretty good lately? Oh yeah, I don't think there's that many people, to be honest, complaining about the Oilers' power play on the season. The Oilers' power play is 12th at or tied for 11th at 23.5%. Right, but if you dig a little bit deeper and you look at since in their last 21 games, it's 28.9%, which is 5th best in the NHL. And if you look at it really in their last 15 games, they're the best in the league at 33.3%. So, you know, it's coming around. The difference is they just don't get that many power plays. Right. So their power play doesn't seem to be as dominant by the goal numbers. Right. The percentage has been, hey, you're 28, 29%. You have no problem. But like they've only, in their last 15 games, they've had 36 power play opportunities. That's it. That puts them like 25th in the league. So their power play is good, but it's scoring you like 1 goal. Whereas last year they had multiple games where they had 2. So I think their power play is efficient there. They're just not getting as many power plays. And that's something that I don't know if it's going to change, to be honest. Like it's kind of been that way here for the last 5 years. Outside of 1 year where they were top 10, they were 6th in power play opportunities. Most other years they're hover around 18 to 28. They just historically don't draw a ton of penalties as a group. And even McDavid, I got to go look it up during the break, but I know McDavid's drawing penalties this year is actually down, which is kind of surprising because usually he's in the top 5. And so I would say it's an area you can improve. Now, having the puck more, yeah, that would help for sure. So, hey guys, don't you think it's going to be LTR time for Stone soon? From Rod from St. Albert. Well, Rod, keep in mind, Mark Stone already missed 13 games, so maybe he had his stint for the injury. I don't root for injuries for any player. Now, I understand it. You know, 3 years in a row, he got injured. Now, 1 year he came back. So he got injured and came back 6 weeks later. That's not cap circumvention. And they missed the playoffs. So there was the 1 year he didn't come back, and, hey, they won the cup. All right. Now, if Evander Kane, are any of you going to say, I can't believe the Oilers didn't activate Kane on April 8th if he comes back for the playoffs? You're not, are you? Because you're going to say, hey, was he legit hurt? He was legit hurt. Was Stone legit hurt? 100%. But the time when he's able to come back, we always say to every player, don't rush him back. Don't rush him back. So I look at and see, hey, it might work for the Oilers. It's in the rule book. It's totally allowed. No one debates that Evander Kane had surgery. But no one fully knows how healthy he'll be. Now, what would be fascinating to me is if the Oilers used the legal ability that when you take a player off of LTIR, you can put him on a conditioning stint when they don't count against the cap. Because normally, if you activate a player and you want to send him down to the minors for a conditioning stint, he goes down there, but he counts on your 23-man roster. Or 24 if it's post-deadline, whatever it is. He counts against the cap. If they come off of LTR, they don't count against the cap. So in theory, the Edmonton Oilers could activate Evander Kane, send him down to the minors. Now, you will get a week, and then you can actually apply for an extension. So he could get another week. Never count against the cap. Will it happen? Oh! I just for the chaos and the screaming of people around, I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? It's all within the rules. The guy's been on LTIR all year long. Why can't he go down for a week, play 3 games, get some timing back? Now, he has to agree to it, but why wouldn't he? Could you imagine that, Cons? And I would say all those who, because trust me, Oilers fans ripped me when I said Mark Stone was injured. I don't have a problem with him being injured. Right? Like I never thought it was cap circumvention. Right? Now, there are times when, hey, guy comes back. Like last year, he came back. He came back for the playoffs. It didn't help him. So the one time it did, great. But even the time it did, if you actually look at their salary cap, their game day roster was cap compliant that year. So again, it's kind of like a lot of hot air, people getting upset about something. But I'll tell you, if the Oilers do it with Kane, I would love to see them do the LTIR rule just for the chaos. People are like, what do you mean you can do that? It would be great. You think it happens, Cons?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
You don't sound very convinced.
I don't think I'm convinced on it, but I'd like to see it happen.
Oh man, it would be just for the chaos.
Yeah.
Just for the chaos would be great. Just remember, Oilers fans, when you're successful, you have to get a thicker skin online because opposing fans will come at you. That's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. When we come back, we switch things up. Kevin Woodley is going to join us next to talk goaltending. Jason Gregor Show with Connor Halley, Declan Kruger on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Friday to Monday, save up to $1,100 off furniture. Score a mattress starting at just $149 or a Medea laundry pair for just $9.99. Plus, for 3 days only, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more same brand kitchen appliances or pick up a 70-inch TV for just $4.99. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Dr. Vance, does a hair transplant have to look like a hair transplant? There's a guy who worked, his is totally obvious.
My goal is to give every one of my patients a full natural-looking head of hair, so I stay up to date on the latest innovations. This is science, and more importantly, an art. I do things differently and move more hair than is normally done, resulting in a thicker look that is also more natural.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Cross Mitsubishi customers like Family Focus Frank, First Time Fiona, and Smart Saver Sammy love Cross for different reasons. But what they have in common, they all wish you the best holiday season and New Year.
And so does everyone at Cross Mitsubishi. They're proving it with financing as low as 1.99%, a tire credit up to $1,000, and a legendary Mitsubishi warranty. All the best from everyone at Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
Get ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their division. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
Familiar flavors meet a refreshing new twist at the Varsity. Nestled in White Mud Crossing, the Varsity boasts a delicious menu filled with your favorites, like endless forever fries with every burger, crafted with a unique new touch. Enjoy the welcoming atmosphere you know and love. Now with fresh, locally sourced ingredients and exciting new choices. And the best part is, your wallet will be happy too. Order online at varsityburgers.ca or visit the Varsity today and discover how something new can feel oh so wonderfully familiar.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use promo code Gregor and get a 20% off your order all day, every day at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, how are you? Welcome back. The Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. And you got NBA, you have NHL. Also, it is Wild Card Weekend in the National Football League, as you have a few games looking like, well, heck, the Chargers are favored on the road right now. Ravens huge favorite at home. Bills huge favorite at home. The Eagles pretty big favorite at home against the Packers. Buccaneer. Ooh, I like the Commanders. I might take that one. And the Vikings are a road favorite thus far at PlayAlberta.ca. Let's go in the room. Brought to you by Action Electrical, where they will help you take action with your savings. Have you been sitting on the fence wondering, do I want to get solar for either my home or my commercial building? Well, they can set you up, explain you all the benefits of it, and more importantly, the best ways to get some saving, including up to a 30% discount for any commercial buildings right now at actionelectrical.net. As Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Woodley, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm enjoying being back in the Lower Mainland. I do miss the sunshine, though. It's been replaced by rain since coming home from vacation. But did a red eye, got here, went straight to the rink, covered a National Predators game, and now the team's gone for 2 weeks, so I get to settle in and watch it all on the road.
Quickly, give me your thoughts on Demko.
Well, I believe them when they say it's back spasms. I think the fact that he was on the ice for 20 minutes yesterday and on the ice today, and that they said he's a possibility to back up an hour from now in Montreal, sort of backs that up. This isn't a recurrence of the knee injury, which everyone kind of feared. Okay. And I think there's sort of two parts to this. There's the total fluke, gets spun around, kicked sort of behind the skate, not quite slew-footed, but feet taken out from under him by his own defenseman cutting across the top of the crease, and lands hard on his posterior and messes up his back. And so there's a fluke element to that.
Yeah.
And yet, even if he just missed a couple of starts here, even if he's back in the next couple of games, the narrative in this market, and as we hear word that the Canucks are pushing to try and re-sign Lankinen and see if they can make the numbers work for an organization that has never wanted to spend a lot on goaltending, I think it tells you there's some uncertainty from management on this team, fluke or not, about whether they can trust this guy long-term. I don't know if it's fair, but it's the reality of how this group in Vancouver feels, and I think it's backed up by the fact they're pursuing the re-signing of Kevin Lankinen.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you want Lankinen? I think he's played pretty well, so it's there's no reason why you wouldn't want to. And now it depends on what number. Does he want what number? Maybe the health of Demko. They're like, hey, maybe we should pay an extra. I'm just using a number, $1 million for a guy. Just you're better off having a really good number two rather than be searching for a guy because you're number one right now. Now it might just be a fluke of different injuries for Demko. But I can understand the concern, Kevin, why people look at, Demko and wonder like, right? Is this, is the knee compensating? Is that leading to the back spasms? I'm no doctor. I have no idea, but I can see why there'd be some concern.
Yeah, no, I get it. I fully get it. And just the fact that, since becoming a number one goaltender, there just hasn't been a season where he's made it tip to tail healthy, right? Yeah. I mean, this is a guy who had both hips done in college, has had surgery on each knee since turning pro in the last 3 summers. So the questions are fair. And the only way for him to erase them, and he's only got a year left after this on his deal. And that's where the decisions get interesting, because based on what he's capable of at his best when healthy, he's in the 8.25 conversation, right? I mean, look at Ullmark and Swayman both getting that number, and neither one of them played a ton of games. So that's the decision this team's going to have to make. And I think, if they re-up Lankinen, to me, the number starts at the Stolarz, and I don't even know if that's enough anymore, but it starts at that, sort of Anthony Stolarz, Laurent Brossoit number, which is, premium 1Bs who can give you more if needed. And that was $5 million over 2. I think he'd probably like more term. So that's $2.5 million a season. This is not an organization, if they're going to pay for number one, that wants to spend a lot of money on the backup, because that's not how they're trying to build this team. And they've obviously got some top heavy contracts at the top of the lineup. And so if they make that move and invest that much in a backup, to your point, because they feel the need, then, are they likely to spend in the range it's going to cost to re-sign Thatcher Demko a year and a half from now? And so these are all big questions and conversations that'll happen in this market for sure. And the only way that Demko is going to be able to erase those doubts is to get through the end of this season healthy, flukes or not, and then have a really healthy season next year. And that's all it'll take, because some team will pay him because they know what he's capable of when he's healthy and at the peak of his powers. But I would suggest that them pursuing Kevin Lankinen in the meantime, and if they do ultimately sign him and commit to him term-wise, suggests that they don't have faith in him maybe being a workhorse for them.
Now, a few other ones to look at. Let's get to the orders. So they got Swayman and Tristan Jarry. And, Swayman's interesting. You look at his numbers, they've been pretty good, actually. Now, the last 2 games, I know they allowed 4 goals in each of them. In back-to-back nights, he was in for one of them. But overall, his numbers are good. And then Jarry went to the minors, Kevin, came back and, looks pretty decent in Pittsburgh. So what do you make of those 2 goalies? The 2 goalies are likely going to face this week.
Well, I mean, I'd suggest that on the season as a whole, an .891 save percentage isn't what the Bruins were expecting when they committed 8.25 to Swayman. But you're right. He's trending in the right direction of late. And I think this is just, everything's changed for him, right? Like, missed his training camp, and we talked about how important that was, the expectations of being the guy. I think there's some uncertainty. If you watch him play and watch what happens in front of him, and fans can keep an eye out for this when you watch the game tomorrow night, there's a lot more in and out, where you'll see him set in the crease and then pop out, pop back in, pop out, pop back in. And to me, that shows a sign of maybe some uncertainty in his reads. I don't want to say he doesn't trust what's going on in front of him, but it's not allowing him to be sort of set and patient the way he is at his best. When he's at his best, he's patient, he's holding edges, and his retreat, what they call recoil in Boston, which we wrote some articles on it, was a big part of Ullmark adopting it, was a big part of his Vezina Trophy winning season. But when he's at his best, there may be a little retreat, even on open releases from the point, but there's not as much in and out. Like, he's set in his spot, and then once he reads shot, he's got a little bit, very subtle backwards drift. Right now, there's a lot of in and out. And to me, that's usually a sign of a goaltender who doesn't fully trust the defensive environment, his reads in front of him. And so as that settles and you see him more set in his positioning, I think you'll see these numbers continue to get better for him. You're right about Jarry since coming back from the minors, and I talked about it before they sent him down. Like, just one of the absolute worst defensive environments in the league. Numbers I had never seen before when they sent him to the American League, like in the 830s expected save percentage range. And, I said this before too, like, there was a couple defensemen I think should have gone to the American Hockey League before Tristan Jarry. He's been pretty good since. I don't think goaltending is a problem. Like, I think he's on the up and up and on the upswing. But again, this is when I look at the underlying numbers, they're trending in the right direction, but are they what you expect for what you're paying? And, there's some lessons here about like, hey, like we've got this guy we think can be a number one. We don't have any other options. So we're just going to sign him long-term. And, I would argue, and they've suggested they need more from him based on what they're paying him. I know that conversation has happened internally. I think that he's ready to turn a corner in his game. I like a lot of the things I heard he did this summer. I like some of the things I saw early despite the results. And I think ultimately it will pay off, but it shows you there's a risk. You change a lot of things around him. You change the goalie coach. You change the director of goaltending after you change a general manager. Kyle Dubas brings in his guy, and a lot of things around the guy change, and you sign him to a contract and expectations come with it. And to this point, it'd be hard to argue he's lived up to them. I still think there's a good goalie there, but I think some of the noise that comes with that contract creates expectations that maybe, while not realistic, they kind of ignore all the changes around him and ignore what this team is defensively. And so you give him the support he had earlier in his career defensively, and he can get it done. But I don't know that he's a bullets in his teeth behind a bad defensive team guy, and that's what the Penguins have been for long stretches this season.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Kevin Woodley from Go Magazine and NHL.com joins us now. The Penguins, are they still around 830 expected, or have they shored up a little bit defensively?
They've shored up a little bit defensively. I mean, if anybody were ever to stay at that lower rate, and again, he bore the brunt of it, right? Because it was such a small sample before they sent him down that, just a couple of bad games. And for sure, like the season opener against the Rangers, like New York created like 7 expected goals against them and had like 16 high danger chances. Like it was nuts, numbers I'd never seen before, and kind of ominous way to debut as a team in front of him to start the season. And it wasn't much longer before he was sent down, and he had a couple starts that weren't dissimilar in terms of the environment. So it's stabilized there, but it's still not like, I'm surprised where they are in terms of relative to the playoff bar, because the environment in front of their goaltenders doesn't make them look like a playoff team to this point. It's gotten better, but it's still not up in that echelon where it used to be when they were winning cups, frankly, where you would expected it to be under Mike Sullivan. And I think some of that has to do with the defensive personnel in front of their goaltenders. It's all about the offense for them and very little about the defense. And I don't think you have to look too hard to know who we're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Eric Carlson, hello. The Darcy Kemper, and you know what? That trade's worked out for both teams. Washington, they've liked Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Kemper's come into LA. Now, LA's system's changed a bit, but I still think it's a pretty good environment for a goaltender from afar. Now, I haven't checked the numbers, Kev, but is LA as good of an environment that you can think of for a goalie?
Loose early, looser at least than we've expected from them, have tightened up significantly here sort of since early December.
Okay.
And Kemper, after some in and out with health issues, like he's outperformed it by a significant margin, especially through Christmas. I haven't checked in the insert sort of the past couple of weeks, large part because I was away for a bunch of it. But right up through Christmas, like for the month of December, he was outperforming at a top of the league level. And so as much as a lot of people will look at it and say, here's the Kings again, they're king makers, if you'll pardon the weak dad joke pun when it comes to goaltending. But Darcy's actually been full value behind that team. And kind of goes to show you, I think when he's healthy, and this were some of the questions, coming out of Washington, how much were his struggles last year? And they were struggles. How much of that was just the fact he was never healthy? And I think you're starting to get your answer. A large part of it was because of his health. And so now he's healthy. Okay. And he's playing behind a team with a much more predictable defensive environment. And you're getting closer to the guy that, frankly, this is where he was all the way right up until the cup run and the injury in Colorado. He looks more like that guy. And so is it world beater? No. But for a month it has been, and that's gotten him right around to his career average, which is, top 20 in the NHL, plus one, on the save percentage for the season in that range. And, if you're the Kings, that's all you can ask for out of Darcy Kemper. And, once again, another guy that people maybe were low on that has turned his career around there. And yes, the environment's a part of that. But in this case, Darcy's a big part of it too, especially over the past month.
Kev, the World Juniors wrapped up, and you know what? I love the tournament for what it is. I try not to take away grandiose statements from players or anybody based on a few select games. But What do you think of Trey Augustine? And did the tournament change your opinion on him at all, or did it reinforce your opinion? What's your thoughts?
Just reinforce the fact, I think, and I'm with you. Like I don't want to say overhyped. I don't mean to put it that way, but I think that tournament can get viewed through such a microscope that we tend to make big grandiose statements about it. And we saw a couple of goaltenders undrafted for different reasons have a lot of success. I think of the Latvian kid, obviously upsetting Canada and had a good tournament. Obviously the Finnish kid that gets Pateri that gets right to the gold medal game, wins silver, undrafted. And so you can overreact to heaters at a short-term tournament. Obviously, I think both of those guys that are undrafted, wouldn't expect it to last. I think they'll get contracts or be drafted this summer. But when it comes to Augustine, just reinforces what I think he is. And that's a legitimate, he's going to be a legitimate NHL. At what tier? I think starter tier in the National Hockey League for a long time. When does it happen? How fast does it happen? Will there inevitably be growing pains and the need for patience? For sure. There always is with young goalies. But the tools he has, the mindset he has, and we were lucky enough to have him on the In Goal Radio podcast for a really deep sit down after he won the gold medal last year, and talking to other goalies in the organization, like Alex Lyon, who's been around and seen a lot of things over his career and been a bit of a late bloomer. He can't believe the tools this kid has. He's talking about just how much further ahead Trey is in terms of his approach and all the extra things he does to make sure he's at the top of the game. His mindset, his physical training, his technical ability, being way ahead of where Alex was at his career. And a lot of people forget that Alex Lyon is a guy that was ahead of Thatcher Demko in junior and that Demko looked up to when he was playing junior hockey before going to college. So it's high praise from Lyon. It matches what I've heard from other people that have been around this young man, and everything he did at the tournament just kind of reinforced it. So I think the Red Wings, for all the attention on Sebastian Cossa, and don't ignore that he's top 10 in save percentage in the American Hockey League. So maybe not as immediate as some people would have liked for as high as he was picked, but he's coming. The future between him and Augustine bodes really well for the Detroit Red Wings.
Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Kev, the Oilers goaltending, they don't get a ton of shots, right? The environment has definitely improved. Obviously, their overall numbers have improved. Have you seen anything from Stuart Skinner? I know we talked to you early in the year, and hey, you know what? He's got to get better, especially off the rush. Now Edmonton hasn't given up tons off the rush, but also haven't seen him get beat as much off the rush. Why?
I haven't deep dived it. I've just watched casually. So, don't have a ton of notes in front of me and don't have access to the stats right now to pull up, being on a little earlier than normal. And I apologize for that. But I have noticed in the games I've watched casually, including while I was in Hawaii. Yes, folks, I watched Oilers games while in Hawaii. My backdrop was a lot better than it is here. Let's put it that way. I've just noticed he's not getting caught with depth off the rush that you and I have discussed before. Yeah. I was critical of it. It made no sense to me. When I look at the success that Dustin Wolf is having in Calgary as one of the smaller goalies in the league, and he's considerably more conservative than Skinner is, especially off the rush. But even in in-zone play, I have questions about, why are you out there? Especially when we know skating isn't necessarily at the top list of your strengths. I think I've seen an adjustment there. Again, anecdotally, just in casual viewing, I'm not seeing him get caught way out as often. I think I see a more contained approach positionally, and that essentially give yourself a chance, right? Because I think on a number of odd man rushes, whether it's a Reed, and Reeds come with experience, and we forget how young this guy is and how few games he's actually playing in the National Hockey League at this stage of his career. It may seem like a lot. He may seem like an incumbent entrenched number one in Edmonton, but when you compare his on-the-job experience to other guys, there's not a ton of it. And so those reads will come, and maybe part of it is Reed, but it looks to me like it's a conscious effort to just be less aggressive and give yourself a chance. It's the phrase I hate the most, or that I often think is most ill-placed when it comes to goaltending analysis, and that's in games where you'll see, on a backdoor or a man rush, he didn't have a chance on that.
Right.
And I always look at it and I'm like, did he not have a chance or did he not give himself a chance? And I thought earlier this season he wasn't giving himself a chance on a bunch. And I think he's doing a much better job of giving himself a chance now.
And quickly, give me your thoughts. What was up with the Rangers? They called up Domingue instead of some of the young guys that have outplayed him there. What is that? Just because they didn't want to put them into that situation, or is there something more?
To me, it's hard to miss it. Like Dylan Garand you're not going to call up Talon Boyko. He's only got 2 starts in the American Hockey League, spent most of the year in the East Coast Hockey League. So his .921 in the AHL is grain of salt. But Dylan Garand is their future. Even with Shesterkin signed long-term, you should be able to get some really good backup years out of Garand before you probably have to move from him. But he's posting a .926 in the American Hockey League. He's showing every sign that he's capable and ready to move up to a bigger stage. And you decide instead to go with Louis Domingue, who last I checked had an .888 in the American League. To me, without having anybody tell me that just screams, let's keep our prospect away from the gong show that is our team right now. And full credit to Domingue. He gets the win the other night in his first NHL game of the season. I mean, I love the character of the guy. He's got so much personality, and he's not afraid to bring it to the rink and to the interviews and to basically everything he does. Like, I'm happy for Louis Domingue, but to me, it's hard to look at that and not think this is the Rangers saying, hey, we've got this really good young goaltender coming up and having a really good season in the American League. And why are we not rewarding him with the call-up when Shesterkin goes down? I mean, for all the drama going on here in Vancouver, the Rangers situation kind of echoes it. And I don't know that you'd want your young guys around that, frankly. And frankly, most of it is defensively, where they continue to make mistakes and not pay attention and work hard enough in their own end of the rink. And so why would you want to expose a young goaltender to that?
Kev, as always, buddy, great stuff. I guess one last one for you, because they do finish the week in Chicago. Man, I saw Soderblom make some unreal saves, but man, they're getting peppered a lot on that Chicago team. What can you take away from their goaltenders in Chicago?
Well, first off, where's Laurent Brossoit? A little worrisome, and I haven't checked in on this, so I should be careful, but a little worrisome that we still haven't seen him after the late summer knee procedure. It's been a while. They signed him to sort of make sure that Soderblom, who's been really good through stretches for them, but make sure he wasn't exposed to what he's been exposed to, because you're right. It's been really bad. And for a long time, he was keeping his head above water. That slipped a little bit recently. And I think that's a lot to throw at a young kid. Mrazek's great for that team in some ways. Like, he's an acrobat. He makes sensational saves. He can dive all over the place. He's athletic as all can be. But he's another guy where you look at it, it's like, it's a fair question. Others have asked it. I don't want to say definitively this is it, but like, is he a good bad team goalie? And some of the things that he does positionally that forces him to make some of those saves, they can lift a team like that, and they're required on a team like that. But I could also reverse engineer it and ask whether it's necessary, whether he's putting himself in spots that are making his life more difficult than it needs to be. And so he was really good for them the past couple of years. It's been a little more up and down this season behind the Blackhawks team that has been mostly down. So I don't know that it matters who's in there, but I'd be worried about exposing Soderblom, who's a legitimate prospect for them and has showed really well in stretches this year. I'd be worried about what that does for him if you keep him in there long term.
Awesome stuff, Kev. We will chat with you next week.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
There you go. That's Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine, NHL.com. Always great stuff on the goaltenders. We'll come back. We'll get to 5 questions and more. It's the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, and Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. your love for the game, and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. The 2 best names in work, biker, and western boots. Diablo has been selling quality Canadian boots for over 60 years. From size 6E to 15EE. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Redwood, and Dakota when Diablo Boots has the best quality for less? Made in Winnipeg. Plus, all of Diablo boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots. 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save on Foods.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4.50. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, as it's time now for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at The Brick. You only have, up until Sunday, where you can save up to 40% off mattresses. You get over $800 off of sofas, 25% off bedroom and dining furniture at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Right now, Leon Draisaitl has 6 more goals than any other player in the NHL. He's second in scoring. He's also got 3 more game-winning goals. Well, if you're looking at the MVP power rankings today, where would he sit for you?
It's a good question. So you look at the guys that would be up for the Hart. So, if we break it down, Nathan MacKinnon obviously I think is going to get some votes. Leon Draisaitl has twice as many goals as Nathan MacKinnon. Double. And we know that goals mean a little bit more, because if there's a tie in points, and guy who has more goals wins. So I look at Nikita Kucherov, Nathan MacKinnon, Kirill Kaprizov was there. He's missed some games. He probably still should be there. So, but honestly, what Leon Draisaitl is doing, when you are clearly the best player on your team and Connor McDavid's on your team, I would slot him in as number 1 today. But keep in mind, that's today. That can change. A month ago it was Kirill Kaprizov, but since December 7th, he's averaged less than a point a game. He's also been injured, but so that drops him down quite a bit. But I would say today it would be Leon Draisaitl, because he has twice as many goals as Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah, kind of why I asked the question. I have him atop the leaderboard today. For those who believe in plus minus, he's also 9 ahead of McKinnon. So, he's just been so good as of late. For me, top spot, again, that's today. Question number 2 for you. Oilers' next 10 games, some tough opponents with some wacky travel. What do you think their record will be in those games?
Well, Boston, it's still a tough game, but Pittsburgh, Edmonton is dominated and I don't expect any reason why they should beat Chicago. They should beat Pittsburgh. So, but then the LA, Minnesota, Colorado, Vancouver weeks, they got 7 games. I say they'll go 5-2.
Okay. How about in the total 10, the next 10 games?
Well, after that, they're home, right? The final 3 are at home.
Yeah.
Well, probably 7-2-1.
Okay, I had a very similar one. I'll go 6-2-2. But yeah, it's some fun travel there for the team and the staff. Question number 3. Earlier today, you posted the coaching staff for the Elks. Is there a hire that you're most intrigued by?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess I'd be the most intrigued by Aaron Grimes because this will be his first coaching job in the CFL. So, was a very smart, very cerebral player, and playing is one thing. Taking your knowledge and speaking to the players is different. So, I guess I'm intrigued to see how he does as a DB coach.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the defensive side of the football as well. But JC Sherritt, a promotion here. Spending time as the run game coordinator with Saskatchewan is kind of interesting. Like how, now playing a little bit chess versus checkers, seeing how he is on the other side to try to stop that very smart player like Aaron Grimes. Love that 2015 defense. I'm really intrigued to see what he can do coaching up that defense for the first time.
I will say Demetrius Maxey is a really good get for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good coach.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Question number 4 for you. It's a ways out. I'm sure we'll have some more questions about the NFL as we approach it. But as we sit here right now, what is the biggest wild card game for you, the one you're most looking forward to?
I think it's the Green Bay Philadelphia game. I think that's going to be a hell of a game. I'm intrigued by the Washington one because I love Jaden Daniels right now, but I'll go with that one. To me, the top 3 are all. I think the 3 NFC games are more intriguing than any of the AFC games. Like I think the AFC games could all be blowouts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't totally disagree with you. I think it is possible. I am very intrigued, though, by the Bills-Broncos game, just because the Broncos, I think, Sean Payton's done a really good job coaching up the squad here. They keep it competitive there. Like I said earlier, not kind of a no-name defense, but they play good ball. So I think the Bills will win. But I'm intrigued to see how that one goes. And, yeah, Bucs Commanders will be fun. Jaden Daniels is a lot of fun to watch, especially when he's got the prime time, all eyes on him. He seems to elevate his game. So I'll go with that one. Final question for you today. Rowan Atkinson celebrates his 70th birthday today. And whenever I see him, maybe it's a blessing, maybe it's a curse, but I just see Mr. Bean. So is there any actor out there that you've seen in various roles, but when you see them, they're always just a certain character?
Go ahead.
For me, it's easy, and it sucks because I love Steve Carell, but he can be in anything, whether it's The Morning Show, whatever movies he's in. To me, he's always Michael Scott. That's who he's always going to be. That was his best role. He crushed that character. He did it so well that for me, whenever I see him, it's Michael Scott.
I will go with Matt LeBlanc, Joey Tribbiani. That's all I see for him. And maybe it's because none of his other characters, have ever, was not anything great, but that kind of, to me, that's what I see. Like, I look at Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and she kind of reinvented herself in Veep, and for a whole generation, people see her as Veep. They don't remember her as in Seinfeld, which is pretty impressive. But I will go with Matt LeBlanc and Joey Tribbiani. I can't see anything else when I see him there.
Elaine Bennis, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Oh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus being unreal. Like, she was a character on the most popular show for a decade. And then was able to go into a new show and a very, and have lots of success and win lots of awards in Veep. Did you watch the award ceremony last night?
No, I meant to ask you about that, and I totally slipped because I don't know any of these winners.
You don't know any of the Golden Globe winners? You never heard of Demi Moore?
Well, I mean, these movies. I'm like, what are these? I'm out of touch, obviously, but I do know Demi Moore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. like I hadn't seen Dune. I didn't see The Brutalist. Right. Anybody out there, let us know. What do you make of it? Because yeah, I'm with you. There were like Emilia Perez, I haven't seen. Like I'd seen Inside Out. Like it's funny. I knew all of the animated ones, which kind of maybe shows you where I'm at as a young dad right now. But yeah, there was a few other ones where I'm kind of like, what? Like I hadn't. There's quite a few I hadn't seen at all. So. But let me know about The Brutal. Like sometimes these are good movies. You see, I'm like, okay. Like there's been lots of ones that I've looked at over time, and I'm like, okay, I want to go see it now. But has anybody seen The Last Showgirl? Pamela Anderson. She was a finalist for it. So it was kind of interesting. But
Emilia Perez, that's a movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you could have told me that was a young actress. I'd have no idea.
Yeah. Here's you know what? I don't know if it's just me getting older, but I don't love the the celebrity worship that we fall into at times in our society. And so you're an actor in a show and you win an award. I've never understood, like, why are you crying so much? Like, I don't know. It's like, maybe it's just, and trust me, I cry, but I'm like, you acted in a movie. It's awesome, but I don't know. So like, it's just, I was watching the Golden Globes because I wanted to watch the intro, right? Because Nikki makes me laugh. I thought she had some pretty funny lines. And I stayed around and I watched one award reception. I'm like, I'm out. And I didn't watch anything else. So I saw all the winners afterwards, but I didn't see any of the acceptance speeches. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm old and crusty, but I thought it was the opening one. I was like, oh my God, I'm out. I can't do it. So
Nikki Glaser, was she good?
I thought her intro was pretty good. Yeah. Like you know what? She had, I thought she had two really subtle lines that didn't even get a laugh. I thought it was really funny because, sometimes she'll deliver one and then the next punchline comes right after. And so I don't know if people heard it or not, but I thought it was pretty funny. You know what? She had a few jokes. I think to host one of those events, I thought Ricky Gervais was always the best at it sometimes because he gave two bleeps and he would kind of call them out on like, don't come up here and give us your holier than thou stuff for some of them. Right. And I thought she made you can't just ignore the sexual abuse and, Sean Combs, you can't do it, right? Like it's a pretty serious thing, but you have to understand that it's also like you're allowed to make a joke about a serious event at some point. Like she wasn't demeaning anybody. So I thought she was pretty good. Now I didn't see any of her interactions throughout the show because I only watched the opening monologue. And for me, I thought it was pretty good. Like I think that'd be a hard gig. I respect anybody who does it. And I always like the opening monologues the best. So.
She's great on roast, so I would assume she'd be good at this.
She's pretty funny. She's pretty witty. So I had no issue with her at all. So, hey guys, for me it's Jennifer Coolidge. She'll always be Stifler's mom from Pat C.
Good one. Good one.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I like it. We'll come back. Speck will join us. He's in Beantown as the Oilers get set to take on the Boston Bruins. Tomorrow, slight little line juggling. Will it be a start of a guy scoring a few more goals? Somebody who's always scored goals but hasn't scored to the level that he would like. We'll find out next as we get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in right now at Fountain Tire because, hey, they've made financing easy. You need new tires or some maintenance on your vehicle. They have flexible payment plans to help you out. Go to fountaintire.com or stop in a dealer near you.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
There's 4 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. Getting going quickly here. Sabres hosting the Capitals at 5:30. The Canucks taking on the Canadiens. And Hughes, game time decision for Vancouver. At 7, the Avs taking on the Panthers, and at 8 o'clock, the Devils in Seattle. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors will host the Milwaukee Bucks. It starts just after 5:30. You've also got the Pistons hosting the Blazers, Suns in Philly, Nets taking on the Pacers, Magic and Knicks, Bulls host the Spurs, Mavericks in Memphis, Timberwolves host the Clippers, and the Heat taking on the Kings. Tough day in the NFL. Jacksonville Jaguars hiring head coach Doug Peterson. The Patriots yesterday moved on from head coach Gerard Mayo. While the Seattle Seahawks firing offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just one season. And the Green Bay Packers will be without wide receiver Christian Watson this weekend after he suffered a torn ACL in the team's loss to the Chicago Bears. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sports, and then we'll talk some NFL with Ken Belson of the New York Times. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Friday to Monday, save up to $1,100 off furniture. Score a mattress starting at just $149 or a Medea laundry pair for just $9.99. Plus, for 3 days only, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more same brand kitchen appliances. Or pick up a 70-inch TV for just $4.99. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
He's bringing the spirit and sound of the East Coast to the prairies. River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents Alan Doyle. Live in the venue January 17th. Tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Get ready to rock with CZ Top. River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents ZZ Top live in the venue June 6, 2025. Tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Delicious news. The McDonald's meals you love are now $9.99 every day. Grab your faves like the Big Mac, 6-piece McNugget, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish with medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99 each plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Edmonton, Alberta, and the surrounding area. Prices exclude delivery.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like jobs for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I'd like to thank all the people who buy new RVs. Buying your RV new is the most generous thing you can do to help your fellow man. Every year, thousands of people just like you go to the RV show or walk into a new RV store, pay full price, take great care of it like you always do, and then eventually sell it to us. And of course, we pay you market value for your used RV.
But that's tens of thousands less than you paid for it.
That's right, Bob. Could be half of what you paid for it when it was new. And it's still in great shape. So who gets the benefit of that reduced value? Our customers, that's who.
No Bull customers never pay full price for an RV because we only buy used.
Right again, Bob. So we'll enjoy the same RV you have now, only we pay like half as much. And it's only possible because you generously decided to pay that higher price when you bought it. So thanks again to all the new RV buyers, and we'll see you in a few years.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. eWell.ca is your power play partner with a new website that puts the power in your hands with 24/7 ordering and shipping within Alberta and Edmonton. Score an account today at ewel.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you are having a lovely Monday afternoon. You make your way home. Remember, it's our goal. Have your lights turned on and make sure your taillights are on. Okay? PlayAlberta.ca. Get you home safe. Now, Mark Spector is in Boston as the Oilers are set to take on the Boston Bruins as we get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They are the underground infrastructure specialists, whether it's in your communities, whether it's on the roadways. They're the foundation that starts so you can have success at GS Construction. Spec, how is Beantown?
Well, so far so good. The Oilers practiced at the TD Garden. It's colder than hell here.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, and I'm a Canadian guy saying that. It's chilly here for sure. It's not like a fake American cold. It's real cold. And I had to take cover in a little pub up the street called Sullivan's. Just, warm for this
so cold. What happened? Oh, geez, I just, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to turn in here for a pint. Smart. I just don't want to see any stories about a guy who wakes up in the snowbank in the morning. Okay, so
there's no snow here. It's not that cold.
Oh,
it is right chilly and windy, and the Bruins lost an overtime game last night, so they're sour heading into tomorrow night's game against the Oil.
Well, they've allowed 11 goals, although 2 of them were empty net goals against Toronto in their last 2 games here. So they obviously want to be playing better. I'm guessing it's going to be Swayman versus Skinner tomorrow. But let's start with Jeff Skinner, Spec, who, you know what? He scored a pretty nice goal in Seattle. You saw his reaction. He was obviously pretty excited. He's kind of been snake bitten. He's had some good chances, been unable to finish. And we've seen, I don't care if you're a 4th-line guy or a 1st-line guy, we've seen guys who extended a prolonged slump and suddenly, they go on a little bit of a heater here. And, the coach obviously liked his game because he moved him up with Henrique and Hyman.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the whole Jeff Skinner thing, Jay. It seems real storybook to say that this guy who's never been a very good defender, who's never dug in defensively, he's never really been much of a bottom 6 guy. It seems a bit of a fairy tale to think he's going to turn into that guy in Edmonton, but on your 3rd or 4th line, you're going to have this 35, 40 goal scorer who, when he gets the chance, like he did the other night, put on a lovely move on Grubauer and, put it in the roof of the net. Not many 4th line guys scoring that goal, right? Almost none. So could he be that guy? Could he, let's just say for fun, for the sake of this conversation, he's not going to be a top 6 player in Edmonton when everybody's healthy. Let's just say that. Can he help you enough defensively in your bottom 6 so that the goals that he might get that a regular bottom 6 guy wouldn't get sort of, make it a good bargain? You know what I'm trying to say here? Do you think he can be that guy?
I don't know. I think, I've watched Skinner. I think he's trying to adjust his game a little bit.
He is for sure. Yep.
Right. I think because this is kind of the first time in a long time he's been on a team that wins. And so I've never asked him flat out, and I probably should. You're used to scoring, but are you having more fun because you're winning? Right. And I wonder, that's, it might seem like an odd question. Well, of course we're having fun, but when you're used to scoring, it's hard because you feel like if I don't score, I'm not contributing, but the team's winning. So I've seen him try to adjust, and it's hard. You're a 13-year veteran in the NHL, and now you're going to try to play a different way. It's not that easy in the best league in the world. So it's, there's some things that maybe don't come natural to him that he's trying to do. So I don't know, Spec. I just, if he could become he's got the biggest challenge I have with Skinner is he's got to be able to move the puck quicker if he's going to play in your top 6. That's just a must. You got to get you get the puck and it's quick, and it's, look at Kapanen, Podkolzin did it. Nugent Hopkins does it well. They get the puck and it's the 29 and 97. Not all the time, but when they're open, they get him the puck and they get him to it fast. Yeah. Skinner likes to hold on to the puck. He always has, and he's had success doing it, but in Edmonton, it's different. So I don't know if, I got to think that's super hard to try to change something you've done for your entire life.
Okay, so what's harder for Jeff Skinner? To learn how to be a top six guy who isn't the man, who gives the puck up and then goes and gets open and tries to get it back, right? Is that harder? Or is it harder to be a third, fourth line guy, play less minutes, be responsible defensively, make damn sure you don't get scored on, and then when you get your chances and you're getting less offensive time, right, than when you're a top six guy, when you're in the bottom six, the puck's on your stick less, you probably defend more. Can he be that guy? So what's harder? Either way, Jay, we're agreeing here. He's got to adjust, right? He's played on lousy teams his whole career. He's never played a playoff game. Everybody knows that. So here he is on a team that's got legitimate Stanley Cup hopes here. He's got to find some way to become a guy they rely on. I don't care if they rely on him in the first line or the fourth line. He's got to pick a role and get really good at it. So when the games get important, he's hopping over the boards and getting ice time. And I don't know which role's better for him, man. It's a fun question to talk about. I guess maybe we'll figure it out over time, or maybe we should just ask him.
Yeah, it's something to have a conversation with. It's a long conversation, I think, to have with someone. And it's because you play this long if you're Jeff Skinner. He's had lots of personal success. He wants to be on a winning team for sure. So yep. I'm giving credit. Will it fit in? I don't know. But here's the other thing. He scores a goal like that. I'm very curious to see just how if he goes on a run, because we've seen it from so many other players. And you score a nice goal, you see the reaction. And obviously it's a big weight lifted off him. He hadn't scored very much at all lately. And can that get him rolling? And if it does, like on paper, Skinner, Henrique, and Hyman look like, I'm like, this is your third line? Geez, that's a lot of goals of guys who have scored, 50 goal score, 40 goal score, 8-time 20 goal score, like, multiple 30 goal scores. Like you've got a lot of goals there potentially on that line.
Okay, hold on. Stop for a second. Hyman's not sitting on the third line all year here. Right?
I'm just saying, no, I'm saying for like 2 or 3 games is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, for sure. It's a killer line. When push comes to shove, Hyman's on the first line, Brown's on the third. Okay, that's fine. It's still a good line. Still a good line. Maybe what we're seeing here is a bit of an evolution of a top 9 for the Oilers, right? Maybe it's not a top 6 and a bottom 6. Maybe it's a little bit more of a top 9. And remember, you got Kasperi Kapanen. I talked to him. I wrote a piece on sportsnet.ca. It's up today. He was the one that made a real nice feed to Skinner on that goal in Seattle. Yeah. And there's another guy. He's sitting on the fourth line tomorrow night. He's not a fourth line player either. And he's got certainly top 6 speed. He's got generally has had top 6 skills in his career. And that's another guy in your bottom 6, Jay, that on a lot of teams he wouldn't be there. So, I guess this is depth. It's a new and different kind of depth. Like, to me, Skinner is awfully small to be a bottom 6 player in the traditional sense of what a bottom 6 player is. Skinner's going to have a hard time checking and battling and winning battles. He's not a big man. Kapanen's a little bigger. He's faster. I think he has the tools to be in the bottom 6. Skinner's got to prove it to me. Skinner's, I don't care. I know what Skinner can do when he's got the puck. He's really, really good when he's got the puck. I get it. Skinner's got to prove to us here that when he doesn't have the puck, that he's not a liability, and you got about 40 games to figure that out.
Mark Spector joins us. I also think, lines have changed a little bit over time, but come playoffs, there's still certain things you're going to need some physicality, no question. And so that's where Evander Kane comes in. I think that's where an addition, whether a fourth line center, if it's not Noah Philp, that will come in and change. Matthias Janmark's a very good bottom 6 left winger.
Really good player. Yeah.
Right. He's not a center iceman. He's playing there kind of for fun on your depth charts, but
sure.
Obviously he's not there. You look at the Bruins spec, and I know you Jeremy Swayman's numbers have actually been pretty good lately, although the last few games the Bruins, aren't happy with, but they're kind of trying to find their stride. The one thing, though, is all of a sudden David Pastrnak has scored here the last few games. And so that kind of sets up what's an interesting one tomorrow night is, can the Oilers keep him from slowing down? Because goal scorers get hot, and they can get hot really fast.
Yeah, he's got 2 goals in each of his last 2 games. The Bruins are a funny team. I can't help but think, like when I watch the Bruins play, I see a light version of what they used to be. They're still a pretty good team. And I mean, that spoke B always carries some weight, right? The Bruins crest and the Bruins jersey and the Bruins playing in the TD Garden. It's a thing, it's something that's real. But I guess, having been around and covered a lot of those Bruin teams, certainly in the finals that were really good with Bergeron and Chara and all those great teams, this team isn't that team anymore.
No.
And I feel, Jay, like, I mean, it's inevitable. Look at the Patriots. Patriots aren't any good anymore. They used to be the best team in the world. You got to come down the mountain eventually. And as much as the Bruins are fighting it, I feel like they're coming down the backside of that mountain. Chicago long since went down there, right? And the Bruins are good, and Marchand's an unbelievably good player. And a lot of people in Toronto hate him. I love him, but I don't think the Bruins. Edmonton's a better team than the Bruins, is what I'm trying to say to you. Edmonton should expect to beat the Bruins, and I think they can beat the Bruins on any given day because I think they're a better hockey team.
Yeah, they've lost since Christmas. They've lost 5 of 6. They got spanked by Columbus 6-2, then beat them 4-0. Lost 3-1 to Washington, 2-1 to the Rangers, 6-4 to the Leafs, and 5-4 in overtime to the New York Islanders. So they're not. It's kind of funny. They lost 2 low-scoring games and lost 2 high-scoring games. So they're just losing. And so you know what? You're the Oilers. You try to beat them down. Leon Draisaitl spec just continues to roll. A perfect shot on Friday night. Have you talked at all about the one? If we're looking at one kind of pattern here lately for the Oilers, is they've been giving up 2-goal leads. They did it to LA. They did it to Anaheim. They did it to Anaheim again. And they a 3-0 lead turned into a 3-2 lead. Any talk about their inability here to kind of put that dagger or put the other nail in the coffin for some of these teams lately and allow them to stick around? And then inevitably they lost a game to LA in overtime. They lost in regulation to the Ducks. Then they beat them 3-2. Like that's 4 games where they've been up 2 or 3-0 and seen those leads evaporate down to 0 or 1.
I'm not going to tell you that I've asked 10 guys in the team about it, but my experience tells me that, like, I think at this time of year, Jay, we're in January. We're just about at the halfway point of the season. I think you're still in a position where you look at the bright side and say, hey, we're getting a 2-goal lead every night. So we're doing it right. And I personally believe that when it comes down to, the very crucial points in the season and it's time to really buckle down and support a 2-0 lead and play like a team that knows how to win, I think that this team knows what to do. Do they give you that when they're in the, playing 3 games in 4 nights? Do they give you that defensive responsibility when they're up 2-0 or 3-0? No, they don't. Right? They don't. They falter, and I think anybody would admit it. But that's just the season, man. Look, I'd rather have a team that gets up 2-0 and still wins or gives it up or whatever than the team that when it's a 2-0 game, it's over. Like a team like the Islanders doesn't score very much. So I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. Are you worried about it?
Well, it just becomes a little bit of a habit. Yeah. In the fashion, and it's more so, what's funny about it, Spec? It's not so much they've given up the leads. It's their inability when they've had the good chances to go up 3-1 or 4-1 and 3-0. Like they've missed actually some really good chances. It's not so much they've given up a boatload, but they're not crushing the team when they have a chance on breakaways and 2-on-1s.
I totally agree. The Seattle game is a perfect example. They're up 3-0. It could have been 5-0. And then Seattle score. They Kapanen gives a puck away and they score. Then Dunn's coming in from the point with a slapper. I was talking to Picker today. He says if Dunn fires that slap shot at 80 miles an hour, he says I'll probably deflect it into the netting, but he breaks the stick. Yeah. So the puck comes at him at about 30 miles an hour, changes him up. He tries to put the rebound in the corner. It won't go there. Schwartz picks it off and scores. So you know the deal. Like, if you don't bury a team, you leave yourself liable for some bad luck to happen, and they got bad luck. So anyway, listen, I'm pretty bullish on this team right now. They're the best team in the league. They're playing 750 hockey since November 8th, which is basically the second quarter of the season. They just won 2 in a row, back to back. They're coming into Boston, then Pitt, Chicago. They'll probably win 2 out of 3 on this trip. If you're asking me to find holes in them, I'm not finding a whole bunch of them right now, Jay.
Yeah. No, that was it. That's the only one for me is just, is that one. I look at like the thing is they do well here these next 7 games because as good as they're playing, Vegas has actually played better.
Oh my God.
And that's
never lose. And they're in San Jose tomorrow night, for Pete's sake.
Well, they had a stretch spec of 12 games after Christmas where 10 of the 12 were against non-playoff teams. And so that's where Edmonton is in a stretch here, 9 games in 15 days. I said, if Edmonton comes out of that game next Saturday in Vancouver and they're still within 6 points of Vegas, then I think they got a legit chance to win the division because Vegas won't have gained any ground despite having a much easier schedule for those 12 games.
Yeah, it's got to flip because everybody plays the same amount of games as everybody else. So it has to flip. And you're right. Vegas, I mean, give them credit. They're winning all the time. Vegas is really, really good. I was talking to Chris Johnston from The Athletic and TSN today, and we were talking about the league, and he said, you know what? He said, I think what's lost in this is the East isn't that good. You know, he said, if I had to pick my 4 Stanley Cup contenders, I'm not sure they all wouldn't be in the Western Conference right now. So, you know, there's good teams out here, man. They're trying to catch Vegas. It ain't easy. And in the Central, you know, you got Winnipeg is going like crazy. Minnesota's really good. Colorado's always going to be Colorado. LA doesn't lose a whole lot these days.
Oh, God, no.
You know, there's lots of good teams. Look at Vancouver, man. Like that team won the Pacific last year. They're hanging on to a wild card spot heading into Montreal tonight.
Yeah. You think they're going to trade one of those 2 guys? I think it would be foolish to do it during the year, but.
Jimmy Rutherford. Yep. I think they're going to, they better start winning. Put it that way. They got a road trip right here. I forget where they go, but they open in Montreal. I think they go like, I can't remember where they go, but they're out east for like 3 or 4 games. And my feeling is if they start to slip out of a wild card spot and don't win some games here, I think Jimmy Rutherford will move Miller. I think Miller's the guy they move. I don't think they move Pettersson. It's my guess. You know, that I don't know. None of their guys are playing. Miller hasn't scored a goal in like 12 games. Pettersson just went like 6 games in a row without a point. McDavid goes 2 games in a row without a point. We're all like, oh my God, 97 hasn't scored a point for 2 games. Pettersson just went 6. Whose best guy goes 6 games in a row without a point? How can he be your best guy?
That's back the Canucks. So they're in Montreal tonight against the Habs, who are just the giant slayer. They beat Vegas, Florida, Tampa, and Colorado on their 5-game road trip, which is great. Good for them. Then Vancouver goes to Washington, Carolina, the next night in Toronto, and then finishes their trip in Winnipeg. So they got Washington, Carolina, Toronto, and Winnipeg. That's a tough. So
good teams.
Yeah.
So you know what?
They come home, and guess who they play? LA and Edmonton. So they got a tough sked.
So we're talking about if they're going to make a deal. I think they have the kind of ownership that demands that it's a playoff team. So I think that this next 6-game stretch for Vancouver is the answer to your question. Do you think they're going to trade one of those 2 guys? Ask me in 6 games and I'll tell you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Spec, have a good one. Enjoy the pub. Stay warm.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
There you go. It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Do you have any concerns about the Oilers? So a few of you have texted in. That's good. But more importantly, what are you most encouraged by? Let's switch it. What are you most encouraged by about the Edmonton Oilers right now? 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our inbox.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
A bedtime story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort. Legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their divisions. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
Okay, time for the Metal Supermarket's mailbag. Archie from Atchison writes, more like Metal Superstars. Another major project completed fast thanks to your quick turnaround. And Helen from Hazeldean says, I just love the young man voicing your radio commercials, but he could visit more often. Well, maybe if Helen made my favorite meatloaf, I would. But seriously, Grandma, I'll be there Sunday. For metal cut to your precise requirements, see the convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave and 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show.
So, Collins,
the
we have
best of
Ken
Edmonton
Belson here
sports
now.
Talk
And we're talking
This
just
is
NFL.
Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Man, days flying by. I love it. It's the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a lovely day. You can text us 833-401-1440. What excites you? What's impressed you most about the Oilers thus far? We'll get to all of those in a second. But first, we're going to talk a little NFL. It's Wild Card Weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 6 games this weekend, 3 in the NFC, 3 in the AFC, as Ken Belson joins us, NFL writer for the New York Times. And Ken, let's start being in New York. Aaron Rodgers, is he done with the Jets? What's your guess happens between Rodgers and the Jets?
Yeah, he's done with the Jets. So you're starting at the bottom and going up. Is that the idea here? Or, but yeah, he's done. I mean, you saw the way he finished. He took himself out of games. The word is Devontae Adams doesn't want to come back either. The team is dysfunctional. Even guys like Garrett Wilson are asking out. They need a wholesale change. And Joe Douglas is gone and Saleh is gone. So whoever comes in is going to want to start fresh. And I have to say, the game yesterday with the Patriots, where Joe Milton played very well, gives it to taste as well. Maybe we should just be drafting somebody instead of signing a 40-year-old quarterback. So. I don't know what's in Woody Johnson's head, but it seems like it's time to start over.
Yeah, so they have a coaching vacancy. Rex Ryan, I saw, got interviewed. What do you think the odds are that Double R is back in New York?
I'd say pretty low. I know, anytime a coach is outwardly lobbying, that's not a good sign, right? Because then he's putting the owner on the spot. He was certainly popular here in New York, certainly those first few years, and the players liked playing for him. But it didn't end well, and he had that great running game. First couple of years, they made it to the AFC Championship games with Mark Sanchez, and then they kind of hit the wall. And let's face it, Rex is now almost 10 years older, so it's a young man's game. You see the guys on the sidelines, the Sean McVays and the Shanahans, those guys, they're in their 30s, early 40s. And the names I've heard so far, Ron Rivera is another guy. Rivera, I don't think he's had 2 winning seasons in a row in all the years he was in Carolina. So you want to start over with a guy like that. And then I think they really need to decide whether they're going to lean heavily into the offense or the defense. And when they went with Soleil, it was defense, and it didn't work out. So they've got a lot of work to do. Of course, the Patriots do as well. But yeah, so I don't know. Vrabel, I think Robert Kraft made his decision to dismiss Gerard Mayo very quickly because he saw the Jets were interviewing Vrabel, and I think that's who he has his eye on.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sort of yeah, I mean he's a Patriots guy,
yes.
So and players liked playing for him too. So and he's still he's not that old. So but Rex, I just think his time is come and gone. Yeah, I don't think he'd be the right guy.
Totally agree with you. And the fact that you're publicly lobbying for it kind of reeks of desperation more than anything else. It's like you want the coaching job for yourself, not because you're going to be good at it. So I didn't love that. So now let's get to the games on the field. Let's start in the AFC. You got the Bills and the Broncos. And man, Bo Nix is and by the way, the Broncos should wear the jerseys that they wore yesterday all the time. They're so much better. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm a total. Well, I don't know if you remember this, but when they had the anniversary of the AFL. And they did all the throwback uniforms. This was years ago, and I'm a sucker for all the old stuff. The standing bill, I like the standing bill in the Buffalo uniform. So I love the orange crush with the big D and the Bronco through it. That's the choice right there.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway,
so how much?
Win many games, but
no, like the Bills are really good. The closest game might be the Chargers in Houston, but I could still see that being a blowout. I think the Ravens are going to spank the Steelers. I think the Bills are going to handle the Broncos. I think the Chargers are going to win on the road. Anything you disagree with there, and if so, why?
Well, I think the Chargers are the sleeper team because if the Steelers go down as we both seem to expect, and the Bills take care of business at home, which I also expect because I think the Broncos haven't played well against playoff caliber teams. They're sort of overachieved, and they'll probably be even better next year. So if that happens, then the Chargers go to KC, and I could see Chargers giving KC a run for their money. They may not knock them off, but I think it'll be a pretty competitive game. And I think Harbaugh's been a good coach. He's quietly kind of turned that team around. Justin Herbert, when he's healthy, is very, very good. So I kind of, if I was making a long shot bet, I'd hang on the Chargers to get to the championship game. But the Bills, it's interesting. They've only won one divisional game with Josh Allen. They've only went to one championship game, division or conference championship game. So he's also got a lot to prove too, even though he seems to carry that team year in and year out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Talking NFL as Ken Belson joins us from the New York Times. You switch over to the NFC, and it's a lot more intriguing. That Washington on the road, I love them. Against Tampa Bay. I'm a huge fan of Daniel. So let's start with that game. And, you look at Tampa Bay, man, they needed a comeback in the fourth quarter against the Saints of all teams to get the win. What do you make of them, even though they're at home against the Commanders?
I think that's the most intriguing game, to your point. Baker Mayfield's been fun to watch. They've got a lot of receivers. Bucky Samuel, did I get it right? Bucky Samuel?
Bucky Irving.
I'm sorry, Bucky Irving. Yeah, they've got a lot of tools. I guess they're sort of another sleeper team. They scored a lot, but then they struggled against other teams. So, and Washington's a good story. They also, they beat Philly. That was probably one of the most exciting games of the year. So I could see Washington getting through. Tampa's defense is not what it used to be in the old days. So. I think that's the most even matchup, unless you count, we'll see what happens with Philadelphia and whether Jalen Hurts comes back from the concussion. But the Packers on the road, they haven't played well lately, and that could be a blowout actually pretty early if Hurts is on his game.
Real okay. Because I think the Packers, now you're right, they haven't played very well lately, but I still, early on in the year, it's just the last few weeks, all of a sudden they haven't found their game. And so maybe they will again, or I'm thinking of Green Bay's had some good road wins before in the playoffs. But, Saquon Barkley is as good as Hurts is. I just think Saquon Barkley be rested and he's just going to run the rock all over the place against them, which leads us to the Rams and the Vikings. So the Vikings go 14-3, and by that they get the opportunity to start on the road, and they go to LA. And if we look at the record, you'd say, well, geez, it's going to be them. But man, the LA Rams, they're they're sneaky kind of quietly good. What do you make of that matchup? And if the Vikings are going to win, what's going to be the key for them to win?
Yeah, they've Sam Darnold was under pressure last night and did not look like Sam Darnold. I mean, overthrew Justin Jefferson several times. He underthrew a couple of guys. That was a very hungry. I mean, I know the Lions got a couple of players, but they're not a great defensive team, and they really got into his head, and he looked shaken. So I suspect Sean McVay is going to try and do the same thing. The Rams actually have a better defense. So, so I guess they'll redesign their offense to make sure they get, Justin Jefferson the ball at 6 yards out instead of 16 yards out or whatever routes he was running. And they also have a lot of nailers good. They've got a lot of guys there, Cam Akers. I don't know what happened to Aaron Jones, kind of disappeared in the second half, but they could knock them off on the road. It'd be a shame if they went out 14-3 and just dropped out in the first round. But I think the Rams are a formidable opponent. They had a negative point total. I mean, the Rams they've got offensive weapons, but they didn't play consistently, and it took them a while early in the season to get going. So, they're capable of beating the Vikings, and that'll be a fun matchup too, I think.
So if you had to pick a road team, Washington's your number one road team to win?
Yeah, Washington and not San Diego, the Chargers. Keep calling them San Diego. But, I think Houston, C.J. Stroud, he got sacked, 52 times this season? Yeah. And the Chargers have an aggressive defensive front. So, and he's still young. He's a second-year quarterback. I don't know. There's a funny feeling about the Chargers. Then again, they've been lousy in the playoffs. They blew a 27-point lead a couple of years ago to the Jaguars. That was epic. So, but I think Justin Herbert's he's just a really good quarterback. And he's a smart quarterback. So I think they can get past him. And I'd love to see them play Patrick Mahomes. They'll end up playing Kansas City. So Kansas City always seems to play well in that cold weather. But I'd like to see them even knock off Kansas City. That'd be kind of pretty cool for Harbaugh.
Well, it's interesting when Kansas City's 15-2, and I get the sense not a lot of people think they're that dominant, and maybe it's because there's fatigue of the Chiefs being so good, but it seems like they're the most unimpressive 15-2 team from a lot of people. But all they do is they know how to win close games, and if that game's close in the fourth quarter, I would bet my house on Patrick Mahomes at that point.
Yeah, I think as long as it's a one-score game. I was at the game years ago. It was the Texans. This was Mahomes' first full season, I believe, and the Texans went out to a 24-0 lead in the first half. I don't know if you remember that game. Yeah. And it was Watson. Watson was on the Texans that year, and I thought, my God, how could you come back from 24-0? But Mahomes he just knows how. He's got a great metronome in his head. He just knows how to hurry up at the right times. And, like Brady, he just knew, okay, I've got 12 and a half minutes. This is what I think I can achieve. And he's got the right guys, and even with the weaker team, he's still got Kelsey in the middle of the field. And I don't know, the running game was at odds, but, Kareem Hunt still is pretty serviceable running back. And Chris Ford and others are good on defense. So, yeah, it's hard to bet against that experience. They've just been in so many playoff games now. Again, like the Patriots, they get boring when you're good that, but they just seem to find a way each time. And Brady, how many blowouts did Brady have over the years? Very, very few over the years. They generally were 24-17 games, a handful. And that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah. The Bills and the Ravens, if they meet in the second round, who would you pick? And then who would you pick for the MVP?
Okay, well, I just came back from Canada, and that's what everybody's talking is Josh Allen for MVP. Josh Allen, I think, did it with fewer tools, and he carried that team. He didn't have Derrick Henry the way Lamar did. And he actually, I believe he won more games, right? That's I give the nod to Allen. I think statistically, the Ravens are a little bit Lamar's a little bit ahead, but I think just the way Josh Allen did it with fewer people around him, I think that's where he'll get the nod. And then I guess it depends it'll end up being in Buffalo, right? Because the Ravens will have So there's another one. I don't know. The Ravens have generally played well, but a couple of years ago, they beat the Ravens in Buffalo. I guess they knocked out Lamar in that game. So yeah, this could be. I was in Buffalo and then I was up in Ontario, and people up there are pretty jazzed. They think this is the year they finally break through to do it. So I guess I would lean on the Bills, lean toward the Bills.
Ken, appreciate your time, man. Have a great day.
Wait, I got to give a shout out to London, Ontario, and Joe Cool's. They make the best kitchen sink pizza. I was just up there watching with the Lions. We haven't even talked about the Lions, but that's Lions country. So,
well, hey, the Lions, are they going to get anybody back for the playoffs, injury wise?
Question. Hutchinson said he'd be there if they made it to the Super Bowl, but that's several wins away. So no, I don't think so, and that's the problem they're going to have. But they're just fun to watch. I think. It's one of I think the country's rooting for them too.
They just looked really good in dominating Minnesota. So even with all their injuries, because it's too bad. But the Lions are a team. They never won anything forever. So they, you know what, they're like the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the NFL. And so I think there's not many opposing fan bases hate Detroit because they've never really beat them. And so
that's right.
If they become good, then eventually fans will be like, okay, now I'm tired of it. Like right now, every fan base hates they hate KC because they just win. And the Lions, everybody's like, well, if my team can't win, I don't mind if the Lions win.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell's a great sort of character. I think he's the sort of quintessential football guy, you know, but he's got a sense of humor about himself. He's humble. And I think fans love that too. Obviously, he's not calling the plays. He's a gambler. You know, he's always going for it on fourth down. But, they're one of those hard luck teams you want to see. It was like the Red Sox years ago. 86 years. When are we going to, and then when they started winning World Series, all right, enough of the Red Sox. But I got to say that the fans in Ontario, they love it too. So the ones I met were very much on board. I mean, it's a split place, and it's probably a perfect storm for them because they got the Bills are good and the Lions are good, and both teams draw well from Ontario.
No, it should be good. Well, awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Take care now.
There you go. That's Ken Belson joining us from New York. And I'm the cons. He brought up two things there, so you're probably torn. He likes your Chargers to win, but then he also brought up the debacle known as the Jacksonville game.
Called them San Diego too. So yeah, there's a lot to process for me. You know what? You can't forget the history. And both of those things, part of the team's history. Hopefully some lessons were learned in that loss. You know, the bad man is gone. Brandon Staley is no longer with the organization. It's taken me a while to get over Gregor because there's been times in games where I've thought, oh, the Chargers are going to lose this one. But now they have a competent head coach with Jim Harbaugh, and they don't lose those games. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. If they can go to Kansas City, you know, they're still a little brother. But it would be fun. It makes maybe a little bit more of a rivalry if they get a playoff game under their belts.
Yeah, we got a lot of texts coming in. Hey, guys, I'm most encouraged by the fact the Oilers are now a team where it's not just two players. They have contributions from different players every night. They don't have a team where if 97 or 29 don't score and the power play doesn't score, then no one scores. They actually have four lines and some defensemen who are contributing at different games at different times from not. Fred, fellas, I'm happy they seem to be injury immune on defense after almost 2 seasons, nothing significant, fingers crossed, from Tiger. Hey, boys, this team looks today like the same team from last June with reinforcements coming. Can't wait, from Doug. Guys, I'm simply encouraged that when the matter creep up, generally they rise to the occasion. Throughout the season, they'll grind, except that the team won't turn it on every game. Deep down, I know the potential is there to see it all the way through. Go Oil, from Dean. And lastly, guys, what impressed me the most is thinking outside that normally has seen on late personally. The pod, Connor Brown, Nurse's return. It's all great. Daniel in Black Falls. Quick break. We'll come back. More with the Oil Report on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Friday to Monday, save up to $1,100 off furniture. Score a mattress starting at just $149 or a Medea laundry pair for just $9.99. Plus, for 3 days only, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more same brand kitchen appliances or pick up a 70-inch TV for just $4.99. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Worried about your debt but don't know how to deal with it? My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day, and I understand how stressful your situation can be. During a free consultation, I can show you how to lower your payments and become debt-free. I can offer you immediate relief from that overwhelming stress. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Hi, it's Steve from Brown's Chrysler, your Dodge, Ram, and Jeep dealer in Westlaw. We're ringing in the new year at Brown's Chrysler with some great deals on our pre-owned vehicles. Get past those holiday spending blues by saving thousands of dollars with a reliable and properly inspected pre-owned vehicle. You'll be impressed with the selection of brands and models for every budget at Brown's Chrysler, north on Highway 44, Westlaw.
We're brought to you by Epcor. Stormwater ponds at Edmonton are designed to move water and runoff from streets and sidewalks, making them unsafe for winter activities. Instead, head to a community league or city rink that is safe for you, your family, and friends. Think twice and stay off the ice. Learn more at epcor.com/winter safety.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Break up the Canadians, boys. Break up the Canadians. They beat Florida. They beat Tampa. They beat Colorado. They beat Vegas. And it only took a minute to jump up 1-0 on the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Cole Caulfield scoring his 22nd goal of the season. Meanwhile, Tom Wilson has his 17th. JJ Peterka has his 11th. They're tied in Buffalo. Colorado hosts Florida. And then the Devils, who are suddenly struggling, are in Seattle to take on the Kraken. But all of a sudden, Montreal, making a little bit of a push. We'll see. The biggest thing is they've lowered their goals against, almost cut in half. Got a few other quick texts to get to. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, boys, I have nothing on the orders, but I want to comment on the World Juniors. I heard what you were saying early on, but I never got a chance to agree with you. I could not believe the body language of Cameron behind the bench. Penalty after penalty after penalty. And then when you leave 5 of the 10 top number 1 picks off your team, you get what you deserve from Eddie. Well, I was flabbergasted by Cameron's comments regarding the penalties. And, geez, that they know what a penalty is. What can I do? And I'm like, you're the coach. Like, what do you mean, what can I do? Like, I'm still blown away by it. I don't know anybody who's ever coached at any point. You talk discipline to your team all the time. Guys, we can't keep taking undisciplined penalties. Now, you can want to take aggressive. I've always said, hey, certain penalties, you're being super aggressive. It happens. Okay. You live with it once, but not when you're taking 6-7 a game. Sorry. Like, it was no practice time. There's no discipline. Never played the Brampton guys together. Like, I don't get it. Like, there were so many flaws from them in that tournament. But, hey, it's an exciting tournament. That's what makes it good. And I'm not one, like, don't give me this, U.S. is caught up. Because all I'll say is this. The World Junior team, Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, Zach Benson, they're all in the NHL. either in their first or second years, and none of them were eligible to play in that team. You put those 3 on Team Canada, and it's different. So the tournament is U.S. had the better team that was there. Doesn't mean they're the better country. It doesn't mean all of a sudden that we have to have some sort of huge intervention. No, just take pride and don't be arrogant and think that, wow, whoever we pick, we're going to win. And then just say, wow, we picked the exact same team. What are you talking about? You picked the exact same team. How foolish of a comment is that? So tomorrow, Oilers Bruins. Look forward to that game. Also, we'll talk more about the Elks coaching staff. And we're hoping to have one of the hottest players in hockey on the show. So have yourselves a wonderful evening. On behalf of Declan Kruger, Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Be safe, drive safe. Please have your lights on. That includes your rear lights, boys and girls. Tail lights don't come on automatically. Make sure they're on. Sports update brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game and use the promo code Gregor50, and you'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
4 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. After 20 minutes, Sabres and Caps tied at 1 apiece. Out in Montreal, the Canadiens lead the Canucks 1-0. Cole Caulfield with his 22nd of the season. Later tonight, got the Avs and the Panthers, and then the Devils in Seattle to meet the Kraken. In the association, the Raptors right now lead the Bucks 13-11, 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Elsewhere, Sixers on top of the Suns, 35-29. The Trailblazers have a 47-38 lead over the Pistons. Later tonight, Bulls host the Spurs, the Mavs at the Memphis. Timberwolves taking on the Clippers, and the Heat in Sacramento. From the NFL, Green Bay Packers wide receiver Christian Watson is done for the season. According to reports, looks like he's torn his ACL in the team's loss to the Chicago Bears. Also, the Jags firing head coach Doug Peterson today, and the Patriots yesterday moved on from head coach Gerard Mayo. Coming up next year on Sports 1440, we've got Fox Sports Radio, then live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius and Brandon Douglas. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting